music sounds good no matter where you play it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, everyone, to a Saturday night stream. It is February 8th, 2025, in the year of our Lord, etc., etc. And it is good to welcome all of you lovely folks to day 33. That's right, it is, in fact, day 33 of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks in the session that we are calling Return to the Barrier Peaks. Very exciting to welcome all of you. I am doing this live from the road, live from Farpoint with the power of ArvBox 2.0, which I have mostly worked out, although again, because this is a somewhat new computer, and then I'm going to get to do this all again in a few months when they actually swap this out for the full new replacement computer instead of just the loaner. But anyway, so there may be a couple of, rough edges, but we should be, I think, in pretty good shape for this as we get ready to go for tonight, and I am very excited for that. Before I go any further, a couple of reminders about ways to support the channel. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube. And if you are watching me over on YouTube, welcome. It is good to see you all there as well. I hope everyone is doing well. And in fact, if I fire that up, let me just make sure that seems to be running properly, I think. So yes, that seems to be going as well. !ArvTube, please follow me over there. Thank you for those of you who have subscribed over there. We are closing in on 1,100 subscribers. We're at a new record. So every new subscriber is a new record for the YouTube channel. So please do support us over there. That would be much appreciated. Discord is !ArvCord. You can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Twitter is !ArvTweets. Blue Sky, !ArvSky. Definitely follow me over on Blue Sky in particular. That's the place that I'm going to be using as my micro-blogging site or whatever the case may be when we actually get there. So please do that. Let me see. The website, arvanelleron.com. You can definitely check out our Hearthglow podcast, which is the limited run podcast set in my Forbidden Library universe that is going to be coming to an end with a live performance in April at Sacred Heart University. And I'll have a specific date on that soon, within the next week or so, actually. But you can check out all the previous audio recordings of that. We're going to have one long recorded form as well that we're going to be adding to that down the line. So yeah, I'm very excited about that as well. That again is at arvanelleron.com for all of those sorts of things. And don't forget to check out Gen GMs, which is the DM and GM tip show that I do with one Mr. Zach Clay, about whom more in a moment. !Arv Shop is the merchandise area for the channel. You can get cool swag for yourself and cool stuff for the channel. The Patreon is !ArvTreon, trying to build that back up into triple digits. You can get unique stuff for you, including character backgrounds, epic poems written about you, writing critiques, and a whole bunch of other things if you go over there and support, including inspirations to help our players in their tabletop endeavors every month. You can also do that by subscribing to the channel and getting those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch, so please do that. And on the publishing front, !Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts, !Library, that's my Tales and Tomes, The Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, and !Greyshade, that is my Greyshade IP, Greyshade, Renegade, and Heretic, the Grey Assassin trilogy, available from the amazing Athos Arts. You can also get the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks there, and you can pre-order the tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade, which is now in edits and is going to be coming out from Brandon O'Brien, the lead designer, and Alligator Alley, the publisher, which is of course the sponsor of this campaign. They will be releasing that in summer of this year, so now is the time to pre-order that and get in on the ground floor on that awesome new tabletop role-playing game. And as always, !BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. !Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention, important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And !Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message we'll do so for others in that situation in the future. Quick note on schedule, we've got this going on tonight. I will then be back on Tuesday, back in Wind Coast Studios, where I will be doing the gamebook illustration stream with Tari Toons, finishing up finally Skylord. That's going to be good. And then I'm going to be playing some Airborne Kingdoms over on GogCom's Twitch channel in Pen and Pixels. Then on Thursday, I will be back on my own channel with finishing up Caves of Kood. We'll be wrapping it up for sure. And also wrapping up Neva, two of the previous Patreon Field Chat Chosen Game of the Months. So we'll be wrapping both of those up on Thursday and getting ready for the new game, which is called Cryptmaster, and that'll be the one that we will be doing later in the month. And then this coming weekend, I will be off because I will be in Boston at another conference called BosCon. So no stream coming up this weekend unless there's an impromptu one, but pretty much not likely. So that's the deal with that. But otherwise, I think we are ready to go. So I'm going to unmute myself and apologize to anyone I accidentally interrupted because I couldn't hear them. And then I'm going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, if this all goes well, I'm going to head over to reveal to you the crew. And I see that the crew is here. They're on my screen, although they are slightly out of sync from where I thought they were. But I will fix that problem in just a moment. Nope, that's not me. Nope, Zach is not LaShawn. There's that. Okay, that's close, except that Rhiannon is not Toya. So let me just change that up to there, and then let me move that down there. And then, no, not quite. Nope, almost, okay, that's almost right. It's not quite right. Stupid thing with the stuff and the business. And, okay, last one, it should be almost correct. Okay, yes, geez, I think I just about got it. If I don't understand why Zoom can't just fix the one window, like instead of being like, oh, you want me to move around everything, right? Like you want me to actually change everything every time. Anyway, I've got them all. So I is Pro Streamer. Good to see everybody. We are here with the crew. Yeah, I am looking forward to this session tonight. And so I am going to start with the person on the top left of the screen who is now in her proper spot on the overlay. And that, of course, is Rhiannon Held. Good to see you, Rhiannon. How is everything with you? And who are you playing today? And I will ask as I do that, what cool new stuff have you gotten now that you've leveled to the dizzying height of level 5?
I'm good. I was worried that some snow here in Portland, Oregon was going to screw up all my activities last week, but it was a no-show, and that's okay with me because I would like to be able to drive around to the things I want to drive to. Um, and I am playing Sataria Verban, half-elf divine soul sorcerer, so lots of healing going on. And now I'm level 5. I said, oh, I got all my stuff chosen, blah, blah, blah. But then I second guessed myself. So I believe the new stuff, or I just didn't mention it or it didn't come up before, lesser restoration seemed like a useful thing. And then for 3rd level, I was weighing remove curse or mass healing word. Because mass healing word is great and you can use it lots. But remove curse, I feel like when you really need it, you really, really need it.
You really want that curse removed.
Yeah. So just in a sort of party sense, I was going to ask people at my part of this which they liked. But I'm sure we have to do the rest of the introductions now. So
okay, we'll be thinking about that. We'll come back to that decision. Also, of course, we need to figure out hit points, and I'll come back to you about this. Now, you could just take the average, or you could do as God and man has intended, and that is to roll and take whatever the fates give you. I'm joking. I always like to push people to roll because I always think it's funny. Either way, but if you want to do the average, that's fine. You can think.
Oh, okay. I had done the average, but I could
honestly,
roll while we're.
It's totally up to you. That's fine. I'll come back to you and ask about hit points later, and we'll figure out about the curse versus mass remove. Mass healing word versus remove curse in just a minute. But thank you, Rhiannon. Good stuff as always. I look forward to hearing more about that. That leads us on to Toya Kristen Finley, who may or may not be in the midst of many decisions about spells and things like that. We shall see. But it's good to see you, Toya. How are you? How's everything in your neck of the woods? And then tell us who you're playing, and again, anything you want to highlight about the cool stuff that Nals is looking at.
Yeah, so I'm playing Malik, also known as Nals Darkly, who is a human bard. Things are slow in my neck of the woods, which, is probably just fine right about now. I have added sending, which allows Nals to send a 25-word message to anyone, anywhere within multiple planes of existence, except for people who are not dead, which seems cheap to me because there is a spiritual plane of existence, but whatever.
Yeah, there's a whole just separate lanes as they're saying. Also, just quickly, Tom, thank you so much for the resub. I appreciate it. Welcome. Sorry if that notification was a little loud, folks. I had to adjust it down. Again, I'm doing this from an undisclosed location in Baltimore, Maryland. So I'm on my remote setup today. So okay, so very cool. So we're looking at sending, and then did you? So that's it. I mean, you pretty much figured out then.
Yeah, I don't think I need to. I'm not upping any like strength or constitution or anything like that, I
Yeah.
don't think.
Okay, so I'll come back to you on the hit point thing when we get there. But otherwise, very excited. I imagine for some reason Nalik has become the messenger of this party, whether it's messengers in dreams, messengers to wolves, messengers to everything. So I'm excited to see that continue as you know, as Nals has become the chatty, if you will, or to go way old school, the ICQ. Most of you won't know what that is
I know.
of these things. Some in this party, in this chat, people will know what I'm talking about. But you know, but anyway, always a pleasure. Thank you, Toya. Moving right down to the bottom left, we have, of course, the awesome and amazing LaShawn M. Wanek. Good to see you, LaShawn. So yeah, so how are you doing, and who are you playing, and anything you want to highlight about new awesomeness coming from Raven?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, things are pretty much. I'm still figuring out the game, but also like figuring out. I'm having fun with my character, so um, it's fun to see what she does because it's not a character that I normally would play. So it'll be interesting to see how she fares over the next few sections. So I play Raven Galinar, who is she is a Lorendi. Not an Eldori, but a Lorendi. So yeah, she's a little different, a little emo, but I like her. So as far as leveling up goes, I am still figuring out the talents and techniques. It's not spells, it's talents and techniques.
Yes.
That she has. I am leaning towards giving her two new spells in the rank 3, corrupt pattern and restore pattern. So it'll be fascinating to see what I'm still working of I should be able to get them because I think they're rank 3, but which is as a that's as a 5th level character I get. So but yeah, I'm thinking about getting those.
When I return to you, we will know one way or the other, but that's going to be cool. Chat, they said that I was much quieter. Is this any better, Drew? Because we had a little issue with my microphone giving some static to the players, which was not so great. So I'm just checking to make sure. Is this better? Can they hear? Can chat hear me okay? Not well enough. Bump it up more. Bump it up. Okay, also, Zoom people, tell me if all of a sudden you've been hit by horrific static and if that's terrible.
Static is back.
Mm-hmm. It's not horrible.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what chat thinks. You might be able to you can power through it. Based on, it seems like earlier when you fixed it temporarily, maybe it was just a case of you moving your mic in a certain way, so I'm sure that's easy to fix, but... Greg? Are you there? Greg? We can't hear you.
Where'd we go?
Oh, he's muted. There you go. Oh, and he's unmuted. Now he's muted again.
5, can you hear me again?
Yep.
Now he's unmuted.
So you can hear me. Is it staticky?
Now we can.
Hello, 21256 staticky? Okay. All right.
No,
It's fine.
not static.
Okay, all right, so now I've upped the ante on, how is that, Drew? Check 122. I appreciate the troubleshooting. Really wish that we didn't have to do it, but sometimes.
Oh, technology.
Yeah. Oh, technology. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How's that, chat? Still quiet, but better. God damn it. Okay.
Try to turn yourself up again?
Yeah, well,
now
that's what I'm going to do. I already did sort of max myself out in OBS, which makes me nervous. So I'm gonna see if I can fix that in
Yeah.
Windows settings. So
Here, let
bear
me
with me just a
unmute.
second. Okay. Is the static horrific for the people in Zoom, first of all?
It is quiet. It's not awful.
There's some
Yeah, it's
room
fine.
noise, but it's very subtle. It's fine.
Okay. And how about people in chat? That's way better.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know what it was doing then. So let me know. Is that
Yeah.
now
And
about on par, Drew, with the volume of the players? Check 1 2, check 1
yep.
2, buckle my shoe,
Hello.
etc., etc.
Checking. Yeah, and I just listened back to the stream real quick. I think seems good.
Okay, that's way better. All right, cool. All right, good. Thank you very much, Drew, for doing that. You can always tell the person who also streams because they're like,
Yeah, we want to know.
they're like, no, it's fine. And then you listen later, you're like, what the frick? There's nothing fine about it. Okay. Great. Okay, so sorry about that. Who was I talking to? I was talking to LaShawn. I said LaShawn was awesome and heard about all that. Okay, great. So last but not least, we move on to Zach Clay. Also
Hi.
awesome.
Yeah.
And Zach, it's good to see you. How are you doing? Who are you playing? Any cool new stuff from one Dr. Jaraxxus?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Very, very busy. It's funny, my work week is such that I work on the weekends. I am all the busiest parts of my week are on the weekends. When you work in entertainment, I guess that's how it goes. So I even work tomorrow on the Super Bowl day, which is funny. I have no relation, nothing to do with the Super Bowl. But regardless of all that, tonight I am playing Dr. Jaraxxus, your favorite intergalactic celebrity, who is now stranded on a planet with no internet access, so I feel bad for him. We've leveled to level 5, and Jaraxxus gets a couple new things. I get a new talent, as LaShawn said, or talent or technique. I'm still figuring out what that exactly is going to be. And I also get a new complex pattern, which is essentially like a warlock eldritch invocation. Still kind of figuring out where that's going to be too. I could just kind of double down on the sprite beam mode, but I think after this arc, I'm going to give some thought to with Jaraxxus's playstyle that I've been going with him, and the aspect that I've been doing sort of the innervate every round to like bump up my health and stuff like that. Jaraxxus has ended up tanking, other than when Gamork does. Gamork's been doing that, but Jaraxxus tends to take a lot of hits from time to time. And I just realized we don't really have a real melee person anymore at all, especially with the absence of Fob.
That's true.
So I might be giving some thought, and would talk with you, Greg, after we finish this arc about maybe making some shifts.
Okay.
For some things. So yeah, I'm thinking of what a tanky melee Jaraxxus would look like, because I feel like it's more.
You have a
just sits in
melee
the back.
wolf, but admittedly,
Yeah, this is true.
I tend to prefer, especially support NPCs. You folks are the players.
Exactly.
So I try
Yeah.
not to, take
So
that.
we'll see. Yeah. So I'm gonna roll with the kit that I have right now. Did you you mentioned health when you were talking to Rhiannon first, but do you want the rest of us to do our health now?
Well, yeah. So assuming you've picked, assuming you've basically picked what you want for the moment, Zach,
Yeah.
then I'll work with you, and then I'll work backwards. So,
Great.
So are you? No, we started at 21 out of 21. Are you taking the average, or are you doing what
We're gonna
fate
roll,
and the
baby.
winds? Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. As you said, God and man and woman intended. We're gonna give it a whirl, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm going to roll. I roll a d8. My con is +1. So watch, chat, read 'em and weep
Yep.
as I roll a 9, 7.
Ah,
I'll take
see.
it.
Fortune favors the brave. Oh,
Fortune does favor the brave in this particular instance. I would not be saying so if I had rolled a 1.
Madness. It would always be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at 28 of 28, I believe.
Oh, yeah. It feels great.
All right.
Yeah, the Jaraxxus tank build is incoming.
It's because you said it, actually. You manifested into existence like, we better make this
Yes.
guy beefy.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you very much. Good stuff. All right, so working backwards. that will lead us next to LaShawn. So, LaShawn with Raven. Are you, so two questions. Have you decided which of the two things you're thinking about doing yet? Because you had a couple of possibilities about corrupt pattern, I believe, and repair pattern, I think was what you said. Have you decided which of those? And then hit points, how are you going to do things?
You're muted, LaShawn.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was actually going to get both because
Okay, even better.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, I just get both. Because I basically have 6. I should have 6 talents overall. So I think. Yeah. So I'll choose those two.
Okay.
Um,
So tell us
yeah.
tell the audience, tell the folks what that does. Those two ones.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did I say? I said corrupt. Yes, I did.
Yes.
So corrupt pattern, that is, if I look in the handy dandy book, it's basically in one action, and I place a marker upon a creature that I touch, corrupting their energy pattern. So I make a melee channeling attack.
Okay.
On a hit, the creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, or their pattern becomes corrupted for the duration. When I use this power, I can choose the nature of the corruption.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
This is sounding more and more terrifying. Your pattern is corrupted. Ah!
I'm actually quite, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, this is actually kind of angsty here.
Yeah. Seriously.
So I can either choose one ability score. While corrupted, the target has disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws.
Nice.
While corrupted, the target has disadvantage on attack rolls against you. While corrupted, the target must make a wisdom saving throw at the start of each turn. If it fails, it wastes its action that turn doing nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, this is actually
Except just mourning the fact that it has a corrupted pattern. I just
Yeah.
want you to know the first time you use that against a creature, it's just going to spend its whole time clutching its head and just being like, my pattern, and just letting you know that's going to happen.
Yeah, I can see this. Yeah. And then while the target is corrupted, because why not? Your attacks and powers deal an extra 1d8 necrotic damage to the target.
Of course. This is very Matrixy, by the way. This is very much like I am the one, like this is very much. I dig it. So now that's corrupt. Now you said the other one is repair pattern?
Oh, restore pattern.
Oh, restore pattern. Okay.
So the restore pattern power ends this effect. So restore pattern, if you give me a moment, because yeah, that seems interesting. Restore pattern, basically it's the reverse. At my touch, all supernatural markers created by a special attack power affecting one creature or object is erased.
I see. How long does corrupt power or corrupt pattern usually last?
It lasts, give me a moment. The duration, give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So on rank 3 or level 3, it's up to 1 minute.
Okay, and it's concentration?
Yeah, it's concentration. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
At higher ranks, when I use the power at rank 4 or higher, the duration is concentration up to 10 minutes.
Jeez.
Rank 5 or higher, it's 8 hours.
I'm just going to corrupt your pattern. Okay.
And at rank 7, the duration is 24 hours. Holy cow!
Wow.
It's like,
Well, listen, by the time you get to where you're casting rank 7 talents, though, you'll just destroy people without having to worry about their patterns. Okay, that's pretty baller right there. I like that. That's good stuff.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I think I'll keep that.
That's pretty awesome. Okay,
And
now
reverse, do the restore as well.
yeah. No, that's right, exactly. Well, I can. There is going to be some interrogation scene at some point, right, where you're just going to be like, "Do you want your pattern restored? Then tell me where the blah 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 is." And you're like, "Oh man, it's like a Space 24 or something." Okay. Can I get from you now? Are you, LaShawn, going to pick the average of hit points, or will you venture forth as Dr. Jaraxxus, as Zach did for Dr. Jaraxxus, and get hit points based upon the whim of fate and chance?
So I had actually done this. Because I was building my character up, so I had actually rolled,
Okay,
and I had gotten an 8.
haha, see?
Hey, great.
This is what I'm
So-
saying.
But then I completely forgot about adding the constitute, like the
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you rolled the maximum on your die then?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
and then plus 2.
Mhm.
So 8 plus 2, so that's 10.
So it
So
puts you up to 28, right?
Yeah, am I still weak?
Injured,
Oh
maybe?
no, not by no. You will have gotten the benefits of a rest. So no,
Oh,
That'll
okay.
be okay.
All right. So I am now at 28.
28.
Yay! 28
Yeah.
hit points.
Look
Woohoo!
at that. All right. Okay. So we've got you at 28. I love everything about that. All right, good stuff. I'm happy that we now understand this thing about the pattern. That we can all kind of conjure it and Okay, so now let me move up to Toya. Are you ready to tell us anything? So you got the sending, you got all that taken care of. So hit point wise, what did we end up with then? If you did the, are we?
So
Yeah.
I don't know the mechanics of that. I just went through, leveled up, added the sending spell, and I have 38 hit points.
Okay, so they just did the. Oh.
So I was at 31.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So they gave me 7.
So that probably means, because the bard is probably D6. So that probably, is it D6 or D8?
D8 for Bard.
If it's D8 and they gave you well, then that means they probably rolled, is what that means. Because otherwise, if you gave you well, no, not necessarily. If they gave you the average, and then they added your con bonus, what's your con bonus?
My constitution is +2,
Yeah.
I think.
So then they
Yeah.
must have taken the average then to get to that point, which is fine. Do you want to stick with that?
Why would I screw around with +7?
I mean, because you could get
Oh
more.
yeah, that would be right.
But yeah, it's a good point. Okay, so you're looking at what, 38 out of 38?
Yes.
Alrighty. Well, look at all these hit points, chat. It's a good thing that I'm going to have them fighting. I mean, not at all. Okay. Okay. Good stuff. All right. And last but certainly not least, so the average, Rhiannon, for Sataria means that you ended up with
22.
22. All right. All right. Hale and hearty, the whole crew. Okay. And Gomorka's risen to some height that I won't tell you. You'll have to just figure that out for yourselves. Okay. All right. Well, since we have done that, then, unless the players have anything else that we were going to ask, I am going to fire up a little bit of music.
Anybody really, really want me to take Remove Curse? I decided against it, but somebody could talk me out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the only thing to keep this in mind is I can take that major healing word spell too.
Or was it Lesser Restoration?
So Lesser Restoration is staying, but that's for effects,
Oh, I see. Okay.
blindness and blah blah blah. Remove Curse is curse specific, so that's my third
That's
level
what
one.
you were. So did Mass Healing Word have anything to do with it?
Yeah, so it was Curse versus Mass Healing Word.
Oh, okay.
So more healing or
Yeah,
curse
so Toya's
specific.
point.
And-
I misunderstood. Go ahead, Toya.
And Zach, you said at like level 6, because of the college I belong to, I'll be able to swap spells in and out every day. You said?
Yes. Yeah, it says the spell you choose must be of a level equal to the number of creatures that helped you conduct the ritual. the spell must be a divination or necromancy spell. Interesting. So actually, there is a small limitation to it. So, for example, a healing spell like Healing Word is not divination or necromancy.
But I'm basically getting
Still
a
getting an extra spell,
plus
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So I could do a healing spell and swap out divination and necromancy spells every day. So that is
Exactly.
on the table.
So it sounds like Curse might be better to
Maybe.
have that in our arsenal.
Yeah. I would just hate,
Huh.
though, like you said, if you pick it and then you cast it like once per campaign.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But hey, that once is such a good one.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like, if we encounter it, damn will we want to have it. But
Yeah.
So somebody was calling that the other day bat shark repellent.
Yeah, exactly.
That one
He-
spell
that
when
one
you
spell.
really need it.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Oh,
Yeah, it's up
my
to
God.
you.
And the thing is, so because I also have healing spells, right? I just try not to use them so much when we're in battle because of the way my battle spells are. And if you have major healing spells, then you can use them, and I can use the battle spells and use the healing spells in like very like last ditch effort sort of thing. Because I do have Healing Word. I have Healing Word, and no, that's the only thing I have. And I have it at all levels. So,
Yeah, and worst comes to worst, I also have a healing spell, but nobody knows this. I have Mend, so, but
I want to point out, LaShawn, that the first time that Raven tries to use it, after people see Raven having corrupted the pattern, they're going to be like, "Yo, I'm not. I don't want your healing, okay? I'll heal your hearts permanently." No.
so I have one healing spell, but again, it's at 3 levels, so I could cast it a bunch of times
Yeah. Yeah. I
in
think
theory.
that should be good.
So if you, I mean, you can still take Mass Healing Word, but there are healing options within the party,
Sure.
and we
Okay.
still have 2 healing potions if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we
Well,
have.
let me go
I
more
use-
interesting then, because
Oh.
healing and other healing and other healing and other healing is, it's fine, but
That's true.
remove curse is sort of more interesting. So,
Mhm.
and now the DM has heard us say it.
Yeah, and maybe there will be you could argue is not the right word, but argue for some interesting use cases of remove curse. Like,
Oh boy.
can I remove the curse of death from my companion?
The curse of not hearing me speak to the dead, for instance. Oh man. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, assuming everyone is good to go, then
Yep.
I am going to talk a little bit about what happened in our last session, and it was a doozy. In our last session, the crew, having defeated the evil Fizelkis of Caridin fame, had also had a chance to meet some of the people that had been taken by those cultists, and was able to gather information that they had before, including a man named Doomig. What they discovered from Doomig was that Doomig had basically told them that he had been one of the original guardians of this place, sort of the creator of the place before the Caridin had broken through and basically taken it over. And for a huge period of time, 2 centuries, I believe is what he said, they had basically kept him and attempted to poison his mind, but his own knowledge and skill had enabled him to resist being taken over basically by the Caridin. The rest of the party, the rest of the people that they saved were all the Twilight Elves who had been taken as part of the sort of spirit caller process and brought to the realm apparently to feed the psychic hunger of Caridin like Fizelkis. But according to Doomig, there was more here about what was going on than just what they had found in this particular, place, and that the sort of deep concerns about what might happen were going to be increased once they found out the sort of full plan of what the Caridin were planning to do. And so before the party could go further about that, they had been bringing these hostages and these prisoners out. They were brought to and have been brought before the council. Now, this is after full healing was done at the Sanctum of Spirits. So as I mentioned, this is why everyone is full up on hit points and so forth. Spell slots, everything is basically restored, thanks to the healing from the Sanctum of Spirits. But as they came into the council room, and I have put a picture there just in the center to show everybody. In fact, you know what? I think I'm gonna go to our map here, and I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can increase that 1 second, so we can get to see more of it, like that. Yeah. Okay. That way we can see more. That's more like it. Okay. So the central chamber that they enter, which is in the Palace of the Primarchs, opens from this grand archway between polished stone columns, and they saw Lady Levia Whisperwind, who is the woman that you see at the center of your screen on Twitch, that is standing at the center atop a raised platform. And before her, a tall, slender fae with golden skin and fiery red hair sits upon a bramble throne. Now, these tall, slender fae with golden skin and fiery red hair is named Tulafal. Tulafal is basically the next in command to the Primarch. The Ascendant, the sort of lead Primarch, suffered a massive psychic trauma a few hours ago, which happens to dovetail neatly with when the party defeated Fizelkis. No one knows exactly if that's put together, but the party probably can add up 2 and 2 to assume that something may have happened, because the Ascendant probably was in psychic contact, having been essentially misled by Fizelkis. And so Anarin, the Ascendant, is currently incapacitated, and so Tulafal is next in line basically to serve as Ascendant and is in temporary command as a result. So what I wanted to ask was, I believe right towards the end of the session, I had announced all of that. But I don't think we had talked yet about what we hadn't really had the council meeting, right? You just came in and basically heard Levia say this thing about becoming blind to the pervading evil surrounding us, and then introduced you, and I think that's where we wrapped up. Does that jive with what everyone remembers?
So a couple of us heard. I'm not sure exactly what part of that. Like I think only a couple of us heard that.
Yes, that's right. That's
and
right.
I know Null's did. I can't remember who the other person was who heard it.
Yeah, I don't remember who passed the perception check to hear the last part of it.
I know there were 2 of us.
Yeah. But the 2 of you would have heard that. But otherwise, Levia introduced all of you to the council as brave souls who resisted the Aothian cultists and saved her daughter's life and rescued Celis's missing citizens, and then motioned all of you to take the floor. And so now I guess the question is, what does the party, as this is the case, as you're standing in front of the council, which, as you can see, there were all these nobles and other Twilight elves surrounding, sort of looking at the stage, and you don't need any special abilities to be able to tell that there's a deep sort of like unease about the place. And so when you were asked to take the floor, I should have also mentioned that there is a good deal of whispering and murmuring at the sight of Gamork, who, unless you told him not to, walks up onto the stage and then curls up basically behind Knowles, with his head on his paws and is kind of staring out at everyone. So there's a bit of whispering about that. But otherwise, everyone is anxious to hear what it is that you have to say. So my question to the party is, what do you want to convey to the nobles and the council? What do you want to convey to them about what you learned of Fizelkis and all that kind of information?
So, quick question in regards to that. Doomig is with us?
Yes, Doomig is with you.
as well as what I'm blanking on the name of the friend who had been kidnapped, and she was the first one out of the pods.
That would have been probably Mavra, Whisperwind.
Not.
Oh, it was Strika.
not
You're
Mavra.
talking about Astrika?
No,
No.
the friend
Oh.
who was gone,
The
who was
first-
kidnapped.
Oh.
Of
Yeah.
Mavra.
The artist girl
Right.
whose house we went into. I already
Yeah.
forgot to. I'll race you to it.
Yeah. Hang on a second.
As soon as I see it, I'm gonna be like, oh,
And she had a nickname.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll find it.
But is she? My question is she also here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, as well.
so all of the kidnapped are here too.
Yes, except for those that were too kind of, almost unconscious. Oh, Nihilestri. That's who you're talking about.
Nihilestri.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dang
yeah.
it! I just
And-
found it too.
Yeah, Nihilestri is there too. Not all of them are there. There are a few people who are very weak and are still back at the Sanctum, but the rest of them are there having been, healed. Although, of course, healed is relative. There's obviously going to be a lot of trauma that these people have to process as well. But for the most part, they are at least healed. So yes, Nihilestri is there. Mavra is there. Obviously, Levia herself, the Levia Whisperwind, the matriarch, is there, and of course, also Elu. Is there too, and is listening to her mother, Elu Whisperwind.
So as far as what we want to convey, we get to talk shop about this first. Is what you're letting us do? Okay.
I'm basically letting you talk about that, yes, although not
Yeah.
taking too long to do it, because
Right. Well, because it's such a to learn that everything you believed is wrong is a cataclysmic upheaval. And I'm glad that Doomig and the kidnapped elves are here
Yeah.
because they lived through it,
Mhm.
and they are also people that the community, well, they don't know Doomig, but they are people that the community trusts and has been very concerned about, and we're concerned about what happened to them.
Mhm.
Also, they need to understand what happened to the Ascendant, and that it is that his psychic trauma is connected to Physelkis, and that Physelkis is a Caridin, and that these Caridin are all over the world, and the Caridin are also responsible for the Whisperwind's dead son.
What an easy convo for me to start, y'all.
What an
It's gonna be great.
easy combo.
Yeah.
Also, and I think
yeah.
this is very important, and I think as a party this is going to be necessary for us, but it is also necessary for everyone here. Doomig mentioned training against like the psychic stuff that the Caridin can do,
Mm-hmm.
and I think everybody needs to know that, and everybody needs to train with whatever they were doing.
Yeah, I think I almost envision that maybe each of the four of us kind of add our own flavor to the overall account that the group begins to say of what has happened. I think, like as Toya was saying with Nalik, maybe Nalik is more sensitive to the while wanting to unveil the truth that as we experience it, but also is sensitive to the cataclysmic effect that will have on their culture. And then I think Jaraxxus is going to, as a very obvious alien, is going to try to explain it and almost act like an authority. He's going to channel his inner Titus and act like an authority on the sort of alien aspects of this.
Mm-hmm.
And how well, here's the thing actually, and I think Jaraxxus will gesture to the two new members of our party, Sataria and Raven, and then especially in particular Raven. And I think Jaraxxus is actually going to, as we sort of cover what has happened here, the Caridin, the reality of the people in the pods, and they're here to give their account. I think Jaraxxus is also going to mention the fact that we are present here, and by we I mean myself and Raven, and that we are from another place as well, and that somehow we are also connected, but we're not exactly sure how. And
So play this out then. Let's
Okay.
have whoever's going to speak as the first one. Go ahead and speak, and anyone else should feel free to jump in the way that we're talking about. If for some reason we're going way over time, I'll let people know. But I mean,
Okay.
role play, twist my arm, because there's going to be input from the NPCs. It's going to be important. This is a pivot point in the campaign. So so play it out. You have the floor basically.
So, do you want me to speak first? Because first of all, everyone already knows Jaraxxus and Nulls, but not Sataria and Raven. But also because as Jaraxxus is the alien, and the rest of the people here would be kind of like, oh. So, do we want Nulls to kind of lead into the shocking revelations here?
I would like that.
Okay, so Nulls is going to come forward, and she's actually going to gesture towards everyone who was kidnapped.
Okay.
And she said, "We have found the kidnapped of this community, and their story is the story of trauma and deceit." And I guess I'm gesturing towards like Doomig or Nihilestra to say something
Okay.
to kind of ease people into like all of the craziness that there are like so many avenues,
Okay.
but start with people who lived it.
So Doomig would probably step forward and bows low and says, "Greetings to this council. I am the guardian, you might say, one of the ones that was responsible for the place in which they found their enemy. It was my responsibility hundreds of years ago to help build it. And it is from there that your enemy reached out and made contact with all of you. Probably contact with your minds." And so there's a bit of a murmur at that as everyone's kind of like, and he says, "The reality is that we were trapped there, some of us for longer than others. I, as one of the keepers of Vidanost, the place that was taken over by this enemy, found that the sanctuary had become something else. What you all describe as a sanctuary was in fact a hall of records, and then became a focal point of..." He kind of pauses for a minute and then kind of glances around at all of you and says, "Invasion." And there's kind of a invasion. He says, "Perhaps it is not mine to tell, except to say that their plans and what they intended for you and intended for my people have only begun. Only you can decide what must be done from that point going forward. I will help as I can. What you cannot do, though, is pretend that these things will not affect you. What you are about to hear, no matter how damaging to your own sense of society, must be taken as factual. I was there when it began." And so this time there's no murmur, just sort of like a dead silence. Not a "what the hell's wrong with you," but more of a "oh snap" kind of silence might be the way to describe it. And
So-
then Tulafal, the Fae, looks back at you, Nulls, and says, "Then what did happen down there?"
Okay, and Nulls is going to say, we found these strange hallways with odd technology, which Jaraxxus can fill us in on a little bit. And then we encountered what Doomig has told us is a Caridin by the name of Vizelkis. Vizelkis is the one who was controlling Astrika. Vizelkis is the one who kidnapped the elves and Doomig and drew their life source for his own. And Elhu, if you remember, the woman in the forest, she is also a Caridin.
And Elu kind
And
of
we have-
opens her eyes a little bit, and several people look at Elu and kind of whisper to each other.
And as we have come to find out, what was the brother's name?
I'll race you.
Another note. Hold on a second, I'll find it. I would have had all of these notes at home, close to hand. Oh no, I don't have my middle mouse button scroll wheel working. No, it doesn't. Okay. Let's
Darius.
see. What'd you say?
Darius.
Darius.
Yeah,
Darius?
Exactly. As I just meant to say. Darius. Yes, Darius.
And as we have come to understand, a Caridin led to the demise of Darius, Whisperwind.
There's a
These
very clear, like, you can...
Did our planet.
Yeah.
Why? Why? We cannot say. And in fact, they may have come from the stars. And Jaraxxus may be able to help us figure that out. Fate, destiny, we know interweave. And so our friends, and now I look at Raven as well, who have come to us from the beyond, may be here specifically to help rid us of these invaders.
One of the council members rises from his chair, and he says, "So you've explained who this enemy is, and we are grateful that you have returned ours to us, and have, at least for the time being, minimized the threat. What I do not understand is what this has to do with broader questions of our society. What has this to do with the Ascendant's injury?" And he kind of looks, that's not necessarily just to Knowles, but it's to the party in general, like, you know, what's the deal?
And Knowles looks to the party as if, do you want me to explain that too?
Yeah. Jaraxxus will nod his head.
Well,
Checking
as we
every
have come,
exit from the room. No, sorry, go ahead.
well, as we have come to find out, Physelcus was powerful in this plane and others. And it appears that the psychic trauma that the Ascendant has undergone is because of his connection with Physelcus.
So
When
there's
Estrika-
so there's a fair bit of like connection with his, so there's like a bunch of like people sort of, you know, murmuring at that revelation. Go on.
Also, when Estrika is here, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, and I also gesture towards her. When she was under Physelcus's control, I saw this shadow realm while we were undergoing the ritual, and I could see the life forces of the elves in the room. What Physelcus has done is made you believe in him, that he was your source of the spiritual realm. I know that is difficult to believe, but for whatever reason, he was using you as a life source, your spirits and your bodies.
So this is what you would define as a revelation in the room, because there's this several of the nobles stand up from their seats. I want y'all to think about the scene from Fellowship of the Ring, where in the film, in this particular case, where they'll all be destroyed. Everyone's like arguing with each other. There's a little bit of that as everyone's talking to each other, and finally, everything quiets down, and you can see that Tulifal has lifted her hand, and the room quiets, and Tulifal says, "We cannot allow our own reactions to disrupt what is being said. There is, despite whatever danger we see in what happens next, There must be truth in the words of these people. One of the nobles, the one who asked the question in the first place, says, you realize that you are speaking, Tulifal, of heresy. You are suggesting that what we have been in contact with, what Anaren was in contact with, was not one of our elders at all. And Tulifal sort of like stares right at him and says, then that means, Conaris, that you have not felt your own life force growing weaker over time. And there's just this like, dead silence, and then the noble slowly sits down in the chair, and Tulifal looks back at all of you and says, I and my fellow members of the council here have felt our life force diminishing for some time. Anaren felt it too. This does not excuse him, but his desperation may explain why Fazelkus could have overtaken his mind once it was given a conduit for its power. And then it's one of those, the moment at Thanksgiving where someone said something no one really wanted them to say, and everyone's just staring at their plate. That's basically what this was, what this is. And finally, Tulifal says, so you have said that it was through that he had connection. Does that mean, in your view, that the Caridin, you called them, seek access to our realm?
It seems that way, and from what Dumig has said, we can't even fathom how many there may be, but they are terribly powerful, as Elu and everyone else who has faced one can tell you.
And Elu, who is standing next to her mother, nods, and she says, members of the council, my mother and I have told you precisely this. What we see above is what will happen to us below. And she turns to you, party, and she says, we have received word in the last day that Aothians, members of the cult that killed my brother, have invaded the towns of New Camimport and First Span in the Badlands. Also, dignitaries which my mother sent to Renvarith have not returned. That includes my father. We have not heard from him, and perhaps now we know why. Now, I have a quick question, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Sataria, that you were from Renvarith.
Yes.
So, I'm curious. This is not to make you do anything if you don't want to, but this is the first time you've heard this also, that dignitaries sent to Renvarith have not returned, and magical attempts to communicate with people in Renvarith have failed.
I mean, she'd visibly react, but I don't think she'd step forward to say anything.
Okay. Okay. So she says, so Elu says those things and then falls silent. And Tulifal says, is there anything else? Anything that you discovered that we should know? Anything more? They all seem shaken. Yeah, badly shaken.
I don't want anyone to leave here without hope. We've defeated two Caridin, and Dumig has said there is training available to fight them with the mind. I think we should listen to him and anything he could offer us in that regard.
And Dumig says, I will indeed do what I can. It will take time, and time is a commodity none of you may possess. I learned to do it over many decades, and then I was forged in the crucible of this torture. You can see his sort of like his face maybe winces slightly as he remembers the 2 centuries of this experience. And he says, but yes, I may do what I can to help. And so Levia says, then I would ask this. The Caridin, what you say has been unheard of in our world before now. But if it is true that one reached out to the Ascendant long ago, that means that they must have been on Sereth, in Camria, on our planet, for at least that long. There was an event spoken of by my people. The arrival of technology, which forever changed our planet. And Dumig nods, and he comes up to next to all 4 of you. Well, 5, counting Mork. And he says, I am one of the few left alive who remembers the Empire before the fall. And in those days, many forms of Magitech technology were created, using special forges. The first of those forges was built in the ruins of a vessel. A massive ship. It crashed into a mountain range spanning between the Worm Spine and Icedark mountains. We, the dwarves, call these mountains Karhestrin, but you referred to them in the ancient days as the Barrier Peaks. Now, if you take a look on your handy-dandy map on Twitch, you will be able to see, and I'll zoom this in for the players as well. So here we have Camria, which was above the sky, of course, that several of you escaped from. And then we have over here Renvarith, which is, of course, as I said, familiar to Sataria. And then down here, the Barrier Peaks. You, Nulls, and Dr. Jaraxxus went through Wormwood, you might remember, which is where you met the woman that you've already made reference to, then went underground, and basically you were now underground more or less here. This is where the Barrier Peaks are, and this is allegedly where this crash site of a ship known as the Centurion came. This also, by the way, Jaraxxus, may be the place that you and that you originally found with the beacon that was going off was in that same ship.
Oh.
And just because it seems to locate in the same sort of area. And Dumig says that if there are answers to who and what these creatures are, they are likely to be found there. It is a place of great danger. Even we did not fully understand what it is that we found. And yet, it is a place that is the source of all that our planet became. And several of the nobles, one of the nobles says, and what we eventually fled from, you would ask us to return to the place of our own destruction. And Tulafal kind of just like is rubbing her chin, and everyone else falls silent.
I think Jaraxxus will speak up at this point,
Okay.
and he'll say, you mentioned a crashed ship. I'll look back at Raven. I'm not sure about this one, but at least where I come from, I had to use a crashed ship to get here. Or to your world, not this wonderful cave. I come from a place beyond the stars. And if it wasn't obvious. But
There's like there's no response, like no laugh. Everyone just is staring at you still.
Right, of course.
Staring at you too. So
That all to say that I, at least, have reason to take an interest in the crashed remains of that ship. But as it concerns all of you, Celis is a wonderful place. I have enjoyed my time here very much, and I am sorry for the trouble that all of this has caused. But admittedly, these Keratin are becoming a larger issue. My ship was tracing a beacon, a message, all the way to your planet. And this world, your planet here, is not really a part of our maps. As far as I'm concerned, no one knows where I am. And I am well known. If they knew, I would be found by now. So...
And he just sort of freezes for a little bit, and that last sentence sort of sinks in for him. And then he looks back up and says,
So, that all to say, we were very happy to help with this situation. And if anyone does have questions about the technology of what we discovered, then I and my other friend from Beyond the Stars here perhaps can elucidate some things. But yes, if there is reason for the investigation of this ship, I will gladly volunteer. But that is likely another issue.
And Levia sort of pauses and then says, this is difficult. You say that you would volunteer, but you have not spoken for the others in your party. You who spoke first, Malik, you are of our world. Would you wish to investigate this thing that is in so many ways so foreign to us and our experience?
I am always down to get rid of those who would seek to destroy the vulnerable.
She sort of nods her head and she says, and you, and she turns to you, Sataria, you are from our world too, although you have not said from where. They don't know where you're from yet, Sataria, I don't believe.
No.
Where, and would you also be a part of this exploration, though we are unfamiliar with you?
Well, I was attending Astrofall, and I assume she would know about that.
Oh
or do
yeah,
I-
they all
okay,
glance at
okay.
each other and are like, "Oh, like, yeah, about Astrofall, yeah."
And so just saying the rest of y'all, you might want to get your vaudeville hook ready, because Sataria is not great at public speaking, but she'll say, I was here and I made a joke about class credit, but it does seem like it would be a really good experience. But this problem with Renverith, and so it seems like it actually would kind of affect me. And I thought it was just some credulous kind of yokels, but it seems like it's kind of a bigger thing. So I kind of want to get in on this, I guess.
Levia follows that and is like, kind of eyes raised, like, kind of abused expression, and says, we, as far as that is concerned, are planning to send those to reopen communication with Renverith. But in the meantime, any assistance you could provide is welcome. And she turns to you, Raven, and she says, but unless I misunderstand, you are not from our world either. Our laws and customs do not have hold on you. If you wish to do this, it must be because you have chosen it, not because you are forced into it by convenience or by coercion. Would you wish to explore this ship?
And Raven looks around, feeling very much put on the spot.
As they all stare at you, yeah.
And she leans over to I forget who is speaking. Raven forgot who is speaking.
Well, it was Levia is speaking right now. That's
Levia, yes.
who is the mother of Elu and of Mavra Whisperwind, very high up in the Twilight Elves.
And she says in a very low voice, "Do I have to answer now?"
And Levia sort of raises an eyebrow and says, "Well, if you are not able to go on this journey, then someone must be sent in your stead. As it is, sending a group of this size is extraordinarily dangerous. But any decision you make must be swift, though perhaps not immediate."
What does that mean?
And she sort of pauses and then she says, "Sooner rather than later."
So now.
And she sort of shrugs, but you get the impression probably would be better.
And Raven sighs and looks very put out. And it's like, I am very uncomfortable making a declaration of throwing myself into this thing without having information whatsoever, because I am not from here. Thank you, Dr. Jaxus, for implementing me in that as well. So now everyone knows that I'm not.
Well, you also are an alien, like.
And Knowles kind of leans towards her
physically.
and says, "Baby, they knew anyway."
So she scowls.
So Levia nods actually at you, and she says, "You speak justly. When the others of your party came to us first, there was deep suspicion. And in fact, there is deep suspicion even now among some of us about, well, when what you have said becomes known to the general populace, I imagine there will be more than a few who question whether those from elsewhere can speak to our condition. But as I was saying before you arrived, we have allowed ourselves to grow too isolated, and it means that we have become subject to suspicion and doubt." She says, "You will not be asked to leave for 2 days. In that time, if you decide that you have chosen not to accompany the party, we will do what we can to return you to the surface of our planet, and no harm done. If you choose to go, then you will accompany these, and it will be your decision either way."
I think I prefer that. I need more information before committing myself to something that I have no knowledge about. So thank you.
She nods. She nods, and suddenly, Knowles, you feel something bumping the back of your leg. And when you turn around, you see that it's actually Gamork, whose head is up, sort of staring at you. Obviously, sightlessly staring at you, but his head is up, looking in your direction. And he growls softly at you.
Okay, so Knowles says to Levia, "Levia, I believe Gamork would like to speak."
And so this now, again, the council's like, wolf, machine. And Gamork sort of rises to his height. And even then you can almost get this sense that a little bit of the council slightly backs up even as he kind of rises to his feet. And he kind of growls softly again. You have any speak with animals left?
I need to cast it,
you have
but
your,
could...
you have all your spells, so yes, you could theoretically do it. So he says, kind of looking up, and he growls to you and says, "Tell them, if you will go down into the bowels of the earth to seek out these creatures, then I will accompany you. My people have also been singled out. None of these..." And he kind of looks around, kind of moves his head sightlessly, from side to side. And the council is all just staring at him, of course, because all he's been saying is growl, growl, growl to them. "If any of these knew what they faced, they might perhaps not wish to be sent or send you. But I will see this through. Tell them that even a monster may have its moment to speak to something larger than itself. If this pack goes into this place, I will go with them." And then curls up and sits down and curls up.
So Nalls relays that message and then says, "Levia can attest that everything I've said, the wolf said, is true."
Levia kind of nods slowly, and the council is sort of thunderstruck, might be the way to describe this. And Levia nods slowly and says, "We have much to consider. Even our bigotries, it seems, have been exposed. So, there is an ancient path of underground tunnels which lead from the vein up to the barrier peaks. And Dumig says, "I know of it. Magitech artificers once used it to transport goods and materials from the ruins to the principalities of Denkir and Asandir in ancient days." And Levia says, "Yes. Celis will muster its resources to learn more of this light of Eroth that you spoke of, Elu, and these cultists which now have taken over New Kamimport and Firstspan. We will try," and she nods at you, Sataria, "to restore communications with Renvarith." And the council all sort of nods. Levia says, "Also, the ancient ship might still hold resources and equipment that might prove useful against the forces of the cult. If they are connected to the Caridin, we will need weapons of both." And there's sort of a general nodding from the council. And she lifts her arms, and the council sort of rises as one. And she says, "Whatever will happen, we must trust to our people and our faith, even if that faith has been apparently displaced." And Tulafal looks around and looks back at the sort of white crystal tree almost that you see behind. And waving her hand, the light brightens intensely. And Tulafal says, "So let it be done." Now, quick question for the party. Does the party have anything else it wants to officially say to the council? It'll have a chance to say things to individuals, but is there anything as part of the meeting specifically that the party wants to say?
Is there anything that we missed? Maybe how Raven and Sataria got to the party?
Yeah, I think that's up to you, up to Raven and Sataria especially.
I mean,
No.
in Satari's opinion, we don't really know. So,
Yeah.
what's to say?
Yeah, they don't know, and in Raven's case, they don't need to know.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think we let the meeting conclude.
So, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do what you want to do during the 2 days when you're preparing for your journey. And one of those is probably going to be a discussion at some point with Raven about what Raven has chosen to do. But before I get there, I do want to mention that before you leave, you will be given some gifts. So
Love
Levia,
gifts.
hold on a second. Oh, okay. Someone is apparently doing work at 9 o'clock at night down below in the hotel. I heard this buzzing and I'm like, there's no way that my mic is doing that feedback. There's no way. Okay. So, first of all, you are given 2 potions of greater healing. That's not per person, but it's just like 2 for the party. So, you can break those up as you like in terms of who wants to get what. But that's only the beginning. Never let it be said that I don't give out magical items. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you were given a bag of holding. Yes, a bag of holding. But there's something special in these. This is given to you actually by Doomig. And Doomig asks you to look inside it. And when you do, you can see, asks you to pull out what's already in there. And there are several ingots of this, what he describes as orichalcum ore. He says that orichalcum ore was used once to fashion powerful weapons and tools, and they were used at forges which were found within the ship. The thing that I want to note, especially for Jaraxxus, is that when you pick up this orichalcum, the reading of like Sorium-esque energy is off the scale.
The power level is over 9,000
Yes.
on these.
Over 9,000. So you are given several ingots of that orichalcum ore, which is in the bag of holding, but you can also, of course, use the bag of holding as a bag of holding, and that's super useful.
Should we like enough orichalcum to make 3 weapons and a set of armor? 1 armor? Like, how will this translate later?
Not sure yet, and in fact, even Doomig isn't sure, because it depends on the condition of the forge and the recipes that you find. So this
Okay.
is one of those, like, and it may be needed. He doesn't know what you're going to find inside the ship either. I mean, like, no one's been there for centuries, so who knows what's going to be found there now. It might be used to power devices within the ship, unsure. Now, there's more though. I'm going to give you all an opportunity. You are going to have a choice of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have here 10 magical items, and each of you is going to get to choose one of these magical items. Okay? So
Great.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I am excited about this because it's the first time you get to sort of look among all of the. This is being given to you by
You're
the people.
excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, by the Twilight Elves, who are giving
that's
this to you
great.
out of gratitude. Okay, and for those of you who don't know, you're about to hear about some cool stuff. Okay.
Okay.
First item, boots of Elvenkind. Now,
yes.
boots of Elvenkind are very cool because when you wear them, your steps make no sound, regardless of the surface you're moving across, and you have advantage on stealth checks that rely on moving silently. Okay? So that's one option. Again, there's one of each of these, so you folks can decide which of these might sound interesting. Okay, that's not the only set of boots, though, because there is also available here a set of boots of striding and springing. And when you wear these boots, your speed is 30 feet, unless your walking speed is higher. Your speed is not reduced if you are encumbered or wearing heavy armor. And whenever you jump, you can jump 3 times the normal distance. Now, you may remember you already have a ring of jumping, and I don't remember who's wearing it. Which one of you is wearing the...
Sataria.
Okay, so Sataria's already got that. So Sataria, you don't get to wear it and then like jump 6 times the normal distance, unfortunately.
Oh, dang.
So it doesn't stack, but you could do that if you wish. So you have boots of striding and springing are another option. Hi, Trifid. Okay, so there's that. Third item for bid, so to speak, is a cloak of Elvenkind, one of my personal favorite cloaks. When you wear this cloak with its hood up, You have perception checks that are made to see you have disadvantage, and you have advantage on stealth checks made to hide as the cloak's color shifts to camouflage you. Does not help with sound, but theoretically, I guess you could get 2 of them, and then one of you could give them to other. It'd be like super stealthy Elvenkind person with the boots of Elvenkind and the cloak or whatever. But that's an option that is available to you. And you might think to yourself, all right, well, this is all cool. I like everything I've heard so far, but is there more? Yes, there is.
Wow.
Because there is also a Cloak of Protection that is a possibility. Cloak of Protection gives you a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws while you wear this cloak. So you have a Cloak of Protection. Okay, that's 4. 5th out of 10 items is... And I actually admit I had to look this one up because I wasn't sure about this one myself. An Efficient Quiver. So an Efficient Quiver basically is essentially a quiver that looks normal, but each of its 3 compartments connects to an extra dimensional space. So it's almost like a quiver of holding. So the shortest compartment holds up to 60 arrows or bolts or similar objects. The mid-sized compartment holds up to 18 javelins or similar objects. And the longest compartment holds up to 6 long objects like bows or quarterstaffs or spears. So if you were like, I feel like bringing, 18 javelins, 6 quarterstaffs, and 60
weapon.
arrows, efficient quiver, baby. You got it right there. It's like
That's
a bento
efficient.
box, but not food. Okay, that's like what I'm saying. So, efficient quiver. That's item number 5. Okay, 5 more. They also offer you, as one of the options, Eyes of Minute Seeing. Eyes of Minute Seeing are crystal lenses that fit over your eyes, and while you're wearing them, you can see much better than normal out to a range of 1 foot. So you have advantage on investigation checks that rely on sight when you're searching an area or studying an object within that range. Very good for finding traps, secret doors, things like that. Eyes of Minute Seeing. Okay, item number 6. Gloves of Swimming and Climbing. While wearing these gloves, climbing and swimming do not cost you extra movement, and you gain a +5 bonus to athletics checks made to climb or swim. Very useful in their own way. All right, last 3. The first of the last 3 is a necklace of adaptation. When you are wearing this necklace, you can breathe normally in any environment, and you have advantage on saving throws made against harmful gases and vapors, like cloud kill, stinking cloud, inhaled poisons, dragon's breath weapons, stuff like that. Not bad. Necklace of adaptation. Last 2. A Pearl of Power. A Pearl of Power. While this is on your person, you can use an action to speak its command word, and you regain an expended spell slot. If the expended slot is a 4th level or higher, the new slot that you get is 3rd level. Once you've used the Pearl of Power, it cannot be used again until the next dawn. So basically, this gives you an extra spell slot, is what it means, which is certainly useful for casters. And then the last one is a Periapt of Wound Closure. What this is while you are wearing this pendant, you stabilize whenever you're dying at the start of your turn. Don't need anyone to do it, you just automatically stabilize. And whenever you roll a hit die to regain hit points, you double the number of hit points it restores. So, choices are again, Boots of Elvenkind, Boots of Striding and Springing, Cloak of Elvenkind, Cloak of Protection, Efficient Quiver, Eyes of Minute Seeing, Gloves of Swimming and Climbing, Necklace of Adaptation, a Pearl of Power, and a Periapt of Wound Closure.
Now, very quick question.
Sure.
Because the good boy was part of the party and the good boy put in the work. Does the good boy also get an item?
Yes. I'll say yes.
Okay.
I will say in particular, leaving aside things like the Pearl of Power, like
Oh yeah. No,
"Roar, I have a slot back.
Here's what I'm going to recommend for him, and I'll see if everybody else agrees. The last one that closes the wound, because he's the one who's always charging in melee boy.
Yeah.
That's
So-
immediately what I thought.
Rhiannon does not have, or Sataria does not have to use that spell where she takes off the death
Mm-hmm.
thing. That's the one I would choose for him.
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
agree. And DM, is this, they have one each of any of these items, so once we choose it and that item is
That's
not
correct.
applicable.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so yeah,
I
think
am
that
I am
should
at
go
a
to-
loss.
I mean, I got two choices. So I got to back up if somebody else wants my first choice. So,
What are you thinking?
first choice, Cloak of Protection. Second choice, Pearl of Power.
What was the
Those
cloak
are-
of protection again?
+1 to AC and saving throws.
Yeah, so those two are the most mechanically useful, broadly. I mean, the others are kind of niche, like stealth checks or jumping.
Are you saying the efficient quiver is niche just because you could bring a billion
look.
javelins?
No one in this party would make use of it. Is the only problem.
No, I
If we
know.
had an archer,
I know.
then heck yeah. But here's
Well-
the thing with Jaraxxus that I'll say is that a cybermancer is a bit like a warlock. Those of you who are spellcasters have 4 first level spell slots, 3 second level spell slots, 2 third level spell slots. You guys have like almost approaching 10 spell slots. I have 2 per short rest. And what this would, if I got the pearl, that could mean I'd have 2 per short rest and then a third per day. So that whole thing about warlocks is that their spells are limited. Then again, though, it could also be useful in the hands of I don't know, our healers.
I think it's a good argument that,
Yeah, I
the
do
person
too.
with the smallest or fewest spell slots
right.
should take it.
Yeah.
I
I will say though, it's kind of weird in that I am eyeing the efficient quiver, even though Raven's never used. She's more of a ray gun, but she's not entirely sure if ray guns work on this world. So,
Yeah.
but I like the idea of, well, she uses a lot of range spells.
Yeah. Does it have to, like, does the quiver spit out and anything, like, it's like, this is not an arrow? Or can it be anything long, like a scroll or
No, I think it has to be a bolt. I'm getting back to the description of it,
yeah, I'm
but I think
seeing
it has to
too.
get back to. I think it has to be a bolt.
It
let me
says
see.
arrows, bolts, or similar objects, javelins or similar objects, bows, quarterstaffs, or spears.
So does that work with, like, say, energy rods?
Yes, I would absolutely allow that. Yes. If you wanted to put like 6 energy rods in the efficient quiver,
I mean,
absolutely.
that is very efficient. Yeah, none of us are melee.
I just had this
That
image
would
of
be-
like what happens if like security alert, like you just start like tossing
Right.
weapons to everybody from your efficient quiver, No, but I just had never heard of it before, honestly, and I was like, oh, this thing's awesome. What is this from?
Yeah,
So anyway, but it is kind of a more specialized bag of holding, I guess, in some ways.
right.
But it's up to you what you
Well-
all want to get.
Yeah, selfishly, I would pick the Pearl of Power, but aside from that, I might go for one of the maybe the Eyes of Minute Seeing, actually, if I didn't get the Pearl. But if
Well-
everyone else is
I have questions regarding my playstyle and what would be better, because I also the cloak of the what is it called? The cloak of
Elvenkind or the
no the
protection?
the
Protection.
cloak of protection, or the necklace of adaptation.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too, that necklace.
Or, but again, but it's like any gaseous thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Advantage again.
Or-
It doesn't make you immune, but it gives you advantage to save against it, the effects.
Or one of the elven things. The boots it's basically for stealth and you can't be heard at all. And what was the cloak again?
And the cloak is basically that it's much harder to see you, so you get advantage on
Okay.
stealth checks of sight, and the boots are by sound, basically.
Yeah, but I don't know which ones would be better for my playstyle. Some of the OGs might be able to tell me that.
Yeah, I think they're just so situational that basically any character could pick them up. Like increasing your stealth. The Necklace of Adaptation is, again, it's almost like the remove curse argument of like, when we enter a chamber full of poisonous gas. Wow, glad we have that Necklace of Adaptation.
Yeah, but only one person will have it, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not even everybody.
You'll have a survivor to go back and report on the deaths of everybody else.
I mean, if anything, an argument for the quiver too is the fact that even if we actually don't use spears, javelins, bows, if we find those things, we can loot them and then sell them later for things we do want. So it is extra storage, but
So here's a question too, because I actually do have bolts. I don't use the crossbow very often, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, could we put our bolts and things in that particular
Sure.
quiver,
There-
even though it's not ours?
Oh, I don't see. There's no reason. It just holds up to 60 arrows or bolts from anybody. It doesn't matter who
Okay,
owns
yeah,
it.
so it doesn't have to be like it's not specific to one person.
Oh no, but if you're going to draw things from it to use, obviously you need to physically go to the quiver. So if you're not the one holding it, you can't just be like, I automatically reach out and
Use the
Jedi
Force.
style. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you'd need to
Okay.
retrieve it. Because taking something out of the quiver is just like you were taking it out of a regular quiver. So, but yes, anybody can put stuff in there as long as it fits the compartments.
So Zataria, you said you wanted the cloak of protection and what
Of
was the other one?
protection. I think the pearl of whatever makes sense.
Okay, so
for
two
Dr.
people-
Jaraxxus, so.
Okay, so all right.
Well-
But I could see an argument for Sataria taking the Necklace of Adaptation, being the survivor to walk around to, help other people.
So between the two of us, one should take the cloak of protection and one should take the necklace of adaptation. Is that what we're kind of
It
coming
sounds
to?
like, yeah.
Okay. So I guess now, based on our playstyles, who would make more sense getting what?
an observation you could do is whoever has the lower AC.
Yeah, I was
because
about.
it increases your AC.
I do have the shield spell, so that helps my AC.
AC armor class, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
So mine is 13, which seems kind of low.
I mean, mine's 11, but then I have shield as a reaction.
Yeah, mine's also 11, and I don't have
Oh,
shield
wow.
as a reaction. But
So it
I have
sounds like
mirror
Necklace
image.
of Adaptation for Sataria.
Okay, and
I
then
Consider too, though, the eyes of minute seeing, because especially when we were in the dungeon, there was a lot of like investigating this thing that's right in front of you, this weird
Yeah.
technology.
I was
So-
thinking of that, but my investigation is +2, so it's not high anyway. If somebody does somebody have like high investigation, because that'll add +1 to it.
I think. Well, yeah, I have 5.
Well, actually, it gives advantage.
It
not
gives
plus
advantage, not just
Oh.
+1.
Yeah, and I'm proficient in it too, so I have high investigation skills.
Yeah, but we don't even know if you come with us, so.
This is true. This is true. This is stuff is where it's like,
Mm. That's funny. Okay, I will take the Pearl of Power, given the
Okay.
discussions we've had.
Pearl of Power. Okay. Sataria, are you going with the necklace or with the cloak?
With the necklace.
Necklace, okay. So, Nulls, you looking at the cloak, if I'm understanding this correctly?
No, I'm going with the boots of Elven. No, I'm going with the
You
cloak.
go with the cloak. Okay. Cloak of protection, to be clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. Raven, what about you? You've got the elven kind cloak, you got the boots, you've got the minute seeing, and of course you've got the quiver that you talked about. There's also the gloves of swimming and climbing. The periapt is going to go to Gamork based on what you all said, so I'll put that on him. But what do you think, Raven?
Yeah, I'll take the quiver, but
Efficient
I'm
quiver.
trying to think of the circumstances of which she'll get it, because I think she will be very weirded out by everybody getting gifts, and like not entirely sure, but she is basically quiet and watchful as people take this, and it's like, okay, I guess I'll take the quiver.
Okay.
Seems useful. But then that would mean that I am basically saying that I am thinking about going to this thing. And she's overthinking all of this.
Yeah.
But this doesn't show on her face.
Well, actually, I was about to say, once you've distributed, these magical items, I want us to take our break, but I will say right after we get back from the break, might be a good opportunity to talk, to have Raven talk to some or all of you about what Raven wants to do, and then we will set off, it sounds like, whoever many people are coming to the ship. But we'll take a 5-minute break first. It is 9:30 Eastern. We'll be back at 9:35 Eastern. Chat, you are watching the awesome crew, members of Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks. I am joined by Rhiannon Held, by Toya Kristen Finley, by LaShawn M. Wanick, and by Zach Clay, who are doing a great job as always. And we will be back in just about 5 minutes and find out what happens as we're prepared to head off to a big old ship. Until then, everyone, please hold tight. We'll be back in a minute. Alrighty. We are back. Let me get to this thing and unmute the folks, and there we go. Lovely.
Hello.
And let's head back over to these fine folks here. Okay, so welcome back, chat. Welcome back, everybody. In our right at the very end, we talked about a decision that needs to be made by Raven. So I am going to give all of you an opportunity to do that, because this is not a decision that the elves are going to push one way or the other. Anyone who wants to can have this convo with Raven about what Raven's thinking about and kind of play it out, or multiples if you wish. But it's up to you. Once that decision's made, then you're going to head off with your new gifts in tow.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we right now?
You are back at the Whisperwind's home, estate, if you will.
And what's the name of the sprite who
Rel, I believe,
Rel, okay.
Yep. Who is, insanely happy with all of you, even the people she hadn't met before, because of the fact that the Whisperwinds are back, except for the father, and that Nat Lestri's back, and yeah.
I think Jaraxxus will approach Raven and say, didn't you mention that you were on a ship right before you suddenly found yourself here, yes?
I did. Also, quick time out. We're back. We're back where?
Oh, I beg your pardon. Not back for you, because you haven't been there before. This is the Whisperwind Estate, Raven, which is basically this large kind of rolling hills estate that overlooks much of the rest of Celis, of the Twilight Realm of Celis. And there's some weird things here, like trees that you can think things at, and then they'll give you food based on what you think and stuff like that. It's a bit of an odd place, but otherwise is quite peaceful and comfortable, and if you wish, isolating, depending, if you want to be kind of separate from other people.
Okay. All right. So, are we like in a hall, or are we?
You would be in wherever you want to be at this point. You could be outside in a gazebo. You could be inside in a cabin, which is basically like where you're all kept. But you can be given, I think, there might have been a cabin for all of you, like collectively, but you can also be given one separately. So you could be in a place as private as you wish, basically, or larger and more driven by nature, if you wish.
Okay. All right. So I'm just setting up the scene real quick. So I think what's happening is that basically Raven's going to be given her own quarters, and she's looking out. She's basically looking out over this peaceful, serene area, and
Okay.
And I guess Dr. Jaraxxus would then knock on her door and check on her. So that would be something where he would probably need to check up on her first. Because I think it's something where she would be like, yes, give me quarters, get me away from people. I need to be alone for a bit. So.
Yeah, I think then Jaraxxus would knock on the door and say, it's Jaraxxus. Can I have a word with you?
And after a couple minutes, after
minutes. All right.
In a comfortably long time. Yes. Raven opens the door, and she is noticeably dressed down. So when we first saw her, she had on regular clothes, but she also had on a cloak. She had a bunch of stuff. And most noticeably, she had her hair tied back. When she opens the door, she has loosened her hair, so she has let her hair down, so to speak. She is dressed in most of her weapons have been set aside and all that, and she's not wearing a cloak. And so she opens the door and she kind of sees Dr. Joxus, and she doesn't really say anything, but just lets, open the door and lets him in, and kind of walks back to the open windows that she was looking out over.
It's a beautiful place, right?
It is a beautiful place. There's a lot of greenery here. This is a
Yes.
very lush green place.
Yes, not so much on a ship nowadays.
I'm trying to remember the last time that I actually saw greenery like this. It's been a very, very long time.
Do you enjoy it?
Do I enjoy it? It's nice. It's very nice. Why are you here, Dr. Johnson? Why are either of us here? What is this place?
That is the question. I've been thinking about that myself.
I'll kind of go up to the window and stand next to her and look out the window with arms crossed and say,
To be honest with you, this is the longest that I've spent time on a planet in over 2 decades. It hasn't even been, what, a week or two? And the thing is I'm starting to like it. And I don't like that.
How come?
Oh, just my presence. Everything that I am is built around travel and everything about where we come from. Ships and broadcasting and
the sim and tech, and he'll kind of like hold open his hand and his sim unit will play like a hologram of a space station with a crowd all kind of sitting in seats as he's giving a lecture or something. And then he'll dismiss the hologram and he'll say,
At first I was despondent over the fact that I couldn't connect to the sim, but it's funny, I always heard these corny stories about people who went on sim detoxes. They would disconnect themselves from the intergalactic matrix and then they'd come back all enlightened. I always thought it was a bunch of, Matakai shit, if I'm being honest. But that's all. It's been nice helping people. I know you only got to do a little bit of it, but honestly, we could not have done that last bit without you. So, thank you.
Where I am from, not many people help each other, or people don't help each other. If you're helping someone, you are expecting to do something for them, or they expect payment of such stuff down the road. These people, I suppose we have done a good thing for them, but who's to say they're now saying that I should go on this to visit this ship, and it feels like and they're giving us these gifts, and it feels like bribes.
It's a good point. I was too caught up in the receiving of the gifts to notice. But
They said that it is entirely my choice, but it doesn't feel like my choice. Which is odd because I come from a people where we're not given a choice.
That doesn't sound like something someone from that sort of society would say.
You haven't heard of the Lorendi.
Oh, I have. That's why I find it surprising you seem to have such a level-headed view about them. If I'm being honest, the rumors around the Silraynark are much worse than lack of choice. Your people have been responsible for attacks or misinformation.
This is true. This is true. Now you see where I am coming from.
If it's any consolation, I believe the gifts were for what we already did, not for what we were about or might be doing. And I have just as much interest in returning out to the stars as you might. I'm not sure. And at the moment, I see the clearest and most direct path forward is this dwarf said that there's another crash ship on this planet. So, yes, we might be doing some favor for these people, but you'd probably also be doing a favor for yourself, because I know the moment I reach that ship, I'm going to go back through all my logs and remember what Titus taught me, what little I know about flying, and get that thing off the ground and out of here.
You have given me much to think about.
I think you should speak to the others, too. Nalik, in the short time I've known her, is very wise. And I don't say that about everyone. Well, I tend to compliment them, even though they don't deserve it. But she actually deserves it. And she saved my life. Which is not why I'm saying that, but that also helps.
So you trust these people?
I trust her. I'm not too sure about the other one that came with you. Or you, to be honest. I mean, you are... Well, I shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but...
No. It is what we do. We are supposed to be untrustworthy and spark fear. At least that's what I've been taught. But again, you have given me much to think about. Maybe I will go and talk to these other two. You said Malik?
Nalik. Or Nulls. She,
You might be less distrustful than me than ever. And with good reason. But...
Yes, Sitaria seems to be a student. I wish to speak with her too, but she seems enthused to go along with whatever's happening, so... I am concerned about the other companions we lost, but I scanned, I did everything I could. I don't know what happened to them, so that's another reason for us to leave here and continue this journey. But I will leave you to your view of green. I don't know, maybe you are enjoying this place more than where you are from. And I don't know. I think there was a while there on the stations and touring from planet to planet and ship to ship and in front of recording units all the time that I didn't really feel like I was reaching the people that were represented by all these numbers and digits. And, I don't know, seeing those people crawl out of those pods and the state they were in, and the fact that if we had not intervened, I feel like it's the first difference I've actually made in a while.
Hmm.
Maybe that's what this planet has to offer both of us. A chance to make a difference.
Hmm. I see. Thank you, Dr. Jarxus. That's actually very helpful.
Of
More
course,
helpful than you realize. Thank you. Now get out.
Yeah, Jaraxus nods and says, of course, yes, I leave you to your room, and I will exit and end scene.
She energy rods you out of the room. No, get out.
Yes.
Get out. This is taking too long.
So,
Yeah, go ahead. No.
Nulls will give Raven a little bit of time, and then she will go to Raven's room and knock.
2.5 minutes, and then go.
Yeah, like maybe more like an hour. So.
Fair.
But she does knock.
She does knock. Who is it?
It's Nulls.
Oh, okay.
And so, again, a comfortably long time passes before Raven opens the door. And she doesn't open it as much for Nulls as she does with Dr. Jackson. She kind of opens it, kind of looks warily out, and is like, yes, can I help you?
Can we chit chat?
Okay. Where do you want to go?
Wherever you feel most comfortable.
Give me 1 second. And she closes the door, and after some time passes, she comes out again, and she's dressed up a little bit more, and closes like, okay, you want to walk? Sure. let's
Sounds fine to me. And Nulls puts her hands in her pockets.
go. Okay.
Very, very casually. And I guess we're just walking around the grounds then?
Yep, we are.
Okay. So Null says, I'm a little surprised that you ever let everybody know about that gem you found. Thought you were going to keep that your own little secret.
Oh. Yes, well, I mean, I did see you watching me, but I figured that if I told people, you would not hold as much power over me as if I kept it a secret.
And why would I need to hold power over you?
I mean, after all, if I hadn't said anything, people wouldn't have known. But you would.
Yes, but you...
And that could have been used against me somehow.
Well, I could have said something as soon as you pocketed it, but I didn't.
Did you think I would do anything with it?
Well, I didn't know what you would do because I don't know you.
And I don't know you either.
Well, we got a mutual understanding.
Yes, we do.
But I am curious about something. You said you saw me and I beckoned you forth from wherever you came?
Saw me.
Above table, I think that was actually Sataria. That saw.
No, it
Yeah.
was both of them.
Both.
Was it both of them?
It was
It was
both.
both of them.
Okay.
Oh, okay. True that. let's get one thing straight. I don't trust you. I don't trust anyone that's here. But from what I've seen so far, none of you have done anything truly alarming.
So,
And I don't like not knowing what I don't know.
so Null stops walking and actually faces Raven and nods her head. And she says, "You don't trust anyone here, and that includes yourself. Now, I'm not here to persuade you to stay or to go. That ain't my right. But whatever journey you're on, and however you're going to get to your final destination, you'll make the right decision. I won't keep you." And she walks off.
Oh, yep. And Raven is absolutely frozen and doesn't do anything for a long time. And then she laughs and is like, as if she knows me. And then she stalks back to her quarters.
At which point Sataria leaps out of a bush and is like, wait.
No.
Just kidding.
So yes. At this point, yeah, Raven's like, oh, I definitely don't like her. But she's also touched something, like she's touched the nerve within Raven that Raven is refusing to acknowledge. And so she's upset, and well, she's not upset, she's more unsettled, but like also being very huffy about it. It's like, she don't know me. How dare she say that?
Go ahead.
So I guess also at some point, I think what's going to happen. So after a night passes, Raven gets up and she goes to. I need to put down names. What was the elf's name again?
Well,
Which
we got, I was gonna say, Levia or Elu or Mavra, or those are all the Whisper Winds. Or Ustrika was the Spirit Caller.
Who do I need to talk to give my decision?
Oh, I think Levia would come to sort of check with you the day before the departure, and see what you've decided.
Okay.
So yeah, you could definitely try to track her down, but I mean, she's lives in this place, so.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So the day before the departure, she goes. Raven goes to Levia.
Okay.
And says, "I have decided that I am going to go, but not because you're asking me to, and not because I've helped those people. You understand that I am doing this because this is my choice. Is that correct?"
That is as it was placed to you, yes.
All right. That I am going mainly because I am curious to see what this ship is.
She nods and she says, "You remind me a little bit of Elu. My daughter was always fascinated by things that she did not understand fully. Always Elu wished to discover more, to see more things. if you are going for understanding, that is as good a reason as to go for anything else. I hope you find things that are engaging to you, and that you will remain safe. I cannot know why you or Sataria were brought together with Nalik and Jaraxxus, but whatever is left of our belief, I believe there is something beyond our understanding. Whatever that thing is has brought you and Sataria to them. It would be unwise for us to stand in the way of that convergence.
Okay.
And she sort of smiles. Then, on the day that you all leave, then, you are met by a whole group of people, mostly the ones that you saved. First of all, the ones that you saved from the pods are there to wish you goodbye and good luck. You are happy to see that all of the ones that you rescued have now, although some are weaker than others, are there also in one way or another to greet you. You are embraced by Mavra. Ustrika, who is no longer wearing the habit of a spirit caller, but is now just dressed like a Twilight Elf, a regular Twilight Elf, nods at you, although her eyes look somewhat haunted, no doubt from her experience, but nonetheless. Tulifal is there as well, the current Primarch. Anarin, the Primarch who is in touch with Fazelkus, has still not regained consciousness, and he remains somewhere far from the minds of the Twilight Elves that are trying to treat him. Also, Elu is there, and tells you that she is going to remain with her mother because she needs to be the one mustering the troops together to try to find out how to stop the Primarch's people up top, that Primarch. And also to try to regain contact with her father that they have lost contact with. But she thanks you for your help so far. And Doomig steps forward and holds up a rough map. And he says, "This was the system of tunnels and shafts at the dawn of the Lalasian Empire that the nations used to transport goods and materials. I'm basing this off my own memory, and it's a memory now 2 centuries old. But if you can navigate what we call the path of the artificers, you should be able to find your way to the crash site of the ship. I must warn you as you go. Even though you've proven your worth and your power, there are things that are not known to me. Outside of what once was Vanacost, I have very little knowledge now. And so, this map is only a very rough guide. You will need to take care." And Levia adds, "And you will need to take care that you survive. Beyond anything else, your gathering information is vital to Celis and to our entire world. But it is just as vital that those who have inspired my people, as much as they have unsettled them, remain alive. Hopefully the gifts that we gave you will be of some assistance. But after you have explored the ship, if you need to return to us, we will be here." And Tulifal says, "We will always be open to you. You will always be welcome within Celis." And the group of people, and so, if you put all those people together, we're talking 35, 40 people. It's not a happy sort of woo, joyous, send-off. But there's clearly a sense of calm gratitude among the people, might be a good way to describe it. That there's a kind of warmth, let's put it that way. And you can see that some of them look visibly sort of concerned about all of you, but they are still happy for you. And the one last thing I'll mention is that one of them comes up and up next to Gamork, who is standing next to you. He is fully healed now, and is wearing his periapt, carefully marked around his neck. And she sort of looks down and she says, "One of the people that you saved." And actually, it's Nihilestri. And Nihilestri says, I know none of the others understand fully who you are or why you are with them, but without you, the others might not have survived either. And so, well, I made this." And she, you see that she is holding a slightly quivering crystal flower. Now, Nulls and Jaraxxus will remember that Nihilestri is an artist, and that she did this work of art before. And the crystal is slightly quivering, and it shimmers in sort of rainbow colors. And she says, "This would fit upon the metal if you wish it." And Gamork is just sort of like standing next to all of you and kind of growls in his usual way. And she sort of looks up at all of you and says, "Is that a yes?"
It's as good of a yes that you can get from him.
So, with a little bit of trepidation, she bends down and places the crystal on the metal, sort of top exoskeleton almost on his back. And it settles on to the metal. And he growls slightly and then sort of moves his sightless eye and... Now, I don't think you have a speak with animals running at the moment, Nulls. But Levia smiles and she says, "Yes, perhaps that is the best way to think of it." And she nods to Nihilestri and says, "He has accepted your gift." And Nihilestri, looking suddenly like a shy 5-year-old, sort of nods and then steps back with her hands folded. And now you are given the map, and if you will go, then is sent upon your way. Sure, unless anyone has anything they want to say just before leaving. Yeah.
I was looking back through our notes. So I remember we, before the arrival of our new companions, we visited the artist troupe that Nihilestri came from.
Yep.
And I was remembering some of the stuff that we bought because she made art herself, and then now that she was giving it, I was like, didn't we buy some stuff? And so I was looking back through, and I'm glad that I saw this.
You had something being made, didn't you?
I did have something being made, and it would be made by Miko, the gnome, who was one of her friends. What I wrote down is that I paid 10 gold for a full-sized, incredibly accurate ceramic statue of me, Dr. Jaraxxus, to be delivered to the House Whisperwind approximately today.
Yeah, well, ironic you should mention it, because there is a
Great.
sheet-covered statue of some kind nearby, which, if you will, just as you're about to leave, the Miko sort of comes up and, with your permission, will remove the sheet. And it is a picture of you, Jaraxxus, a statue of you, exquisitely detailed. It shows your hands next to your visor, sort of looking off, and you are dramatically looking off into the distance with the tentacles, right? Sort of flowing dramatically behind you, floating dramatically behind you in some wind. And there's a general murmuring among the crowd at the sight of this. It does occur to you, Jaraxxus, it's going to be very hard to move this.
No, it's wonderful. I hope you will find a suitable place to keep it on display in the city. And as a token of what has transpired between us, of course.
And the last person to speak to you is Rel, who comes buzzing around you. And then she says, I just wanted to say again, thank you for helping the Whisperwinds and all of us down here. And it's really important that you, and then she drops her voice and she says, don't die. It's really important not to die. You're going to need to come back here and you're going to need to see things. I don't know where we're going to move the statue, but it's going to get very confusing if we don't know your directions. So you really need to not die. Also, it's really important for Nihilestri, for Mavra, for Elu, for Levia, and she starts like rattling off, and then Levia clears her throat and Rel's like, oh, yeah, yes, and then she lowers her voice and says, thank you. You've given these people a truth that they needed. If it brings them together, then it was worth it. I'll take good care of them while you're gone. Just, don't get hurt. All right, goodbye. And then, heads off. Yes.
Nulls is going to address everyone who's gathered here.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And she said, we're going to be apart for just a little while, but we are all bonded by a determination that burns within us because we know that we cannot fail. You or us. And while we're gone, if you need us to know anything, or we need you to know anything, we'll find a way to get it sent out there, physically or otherwise.
And the assembled people sort of nod solemnly. And Dernig says, travel well and be careful. Remember that no physical maze can stop you if you can escape the mental maze of your mind. You freed me. May our blessings free you. And that's going to send you down the path. So what I want to ask the party members to do is, the rough sketch, which is based on a 200-year-old memory, is not the easiest map to follow. And since it's abandoned for centuries, the maze of tunnels that you're taken to is rife with all sorts of strange things one way or the other. So what I'm going to give you an opportunity to do is to either mitigate or, make worse the travel. So I'm going to ask one of you to make a survival check for me. I will let it to you in terms of which of the four of you would like to make that survival check. But one of you will need to do so.
Who has the better survival?
Right.
Mine is
only-
+3.
+2.
I have 2.
And it's wisdom, LaShawn, if that helps.
Yeah, +1.
Well, sounds like a +3 to me.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and my wisdom is also +3, so that.
Okay.
All right, let's see what happens.
Survival check. All right, chat. Get your inspirations ready if needed, but hopefully not. Let's see what we get.
Oh, right down the middle.
All right. So we are looking at a 13. Okay. All right. So as you are making your way, I was about to say making your way downtown. Making your way downtown. Okay. As you are making your way, I would like, I'm going to ask each of you to make, since you made the wisdom check, we're not going to have Nulls do this. So, Satari, I'm going to start with you. I would like you to make, roll a d8 for me, please.
Oh, okay.
And let me know what you got.
It's- There we go. Sorry, I had to grab my
All good.
Dice.
All good.
6.
A 6. Okay. So, when you come in to this area, about an hour into your journey, you find yourself entering a 60-foot wide cavern, and it is made of a black stone with patches of smooth, glossy rock that appear along its jagged area. And there's a thin layer of faint gray mist, which you can see from your vantage point is covering the wall's surface. Now, the passageway is basically opened out into this chamber. If you wanted to go directly down the middle, you could probably avoid coming close to the walls. If you wanted to go down the center to the passageway on the other side of the cavern. Or you could try to hug the walls instead of the middle, or, you know, any combination of those things, I guess. So it's up to how the party wants to navigate it, but it's definitely unusual in terms of what you've seen of the walls so far, which have been more natural stone and not made of this kind of glossy rock.
No strange sounds or smells or anything?
Not from this distance, but you're not right on top of it yet.
How far away from the ship?
Probably if the map is anywhere close, you have another few hours to go. It's about, if all goes well, it's about a 4 to 5 hour journey. So you're about an
that's
hour in
pretty short.
so far.
Okay.
Yeah, this is thanks to the Path
I
of the
thought this was like
Artificers.
multiple days or
No,
something.
no. This is the
Yeah,
Path of the
yeah.
Artificers, which helps a little
Okay.
bit.
Great. Okay. I wonder if I can. Well, I think this decides the spell I'm picking for level 5. This is kind of at the top of the list anyway. There's a spell that will let me, a talent rather, that will let me sort of like spy somewhere.
Okay.
It's called, I believe, I'm just checking the spelling. Nope, that one makes us invisible. This stuff. Hold. It's under the director class. Here we go. It would be sensory extension. So what that lets me do is I can create a invisible sensory area within range, within a range of 5 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll narrowly
locate-
annihilate the distance, yes.
yeah, in a location familiar to you, as in a place you've visited or seen before, or in an obvious location that is unfamiliar to you, such as behind a door, down an alleyway, or in a warehouse.
Okay.
The sensor remains in place for the duration, and it can't be attacked or otherwise interacted with. When you use this power, you choose seeing or hearing. You can use the chosen sense through the sensor as if you were in its space. As an action, you can switch between seeing and hearing. So
Okay.
I will cast this.
How
the form of
how big is the radius or the affected area of it? I know the is it a 5 mile radius or is it?
I can cast it to attempt to essentially scry on a place within 5 miles, but
Right.
once I actually put down this sensor, it's limited to my normal senses, essentially.
Okay, got it.
It
All right, are you
says
doing seeing or hearing, and where are you putting this
We'll
thing?
do seeing, and I'll try to put it 100 feet into the fog ahead of us, directly down the middle.
Okay, well, the mist, actually, there's no fog down the middle. The mist is covering the surfaces of the walls. So
Oh.
the passage opens out into
Oh,
this
that
cavern.
is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Okay. In that case, I'll create the sensor along one of the walls
Okay,
inside the mist.
okay, sounds good. And sight or see, you said seeing?
Seeing with the goal of having my senses be right up against the wall and being able to, well, this is immediately a situation where the eyes of minute seeing would have been useful in retrospect. But
I was just thinking
trying
that.
to be right up against the wall and being like, is there a spike trap or something?
You see simply swirling mist and the wall, obviously, but nothing unusual.
Okay. Does the mist go all the way up to the ceiling?
Yes.
That's-
covering the
Is there
wall.
any way we could?
Go ahead.
Is there any way we can investigate this to see like if it's magic or if it's natural?
Yes, but not from the distance that you're standing, unless except for Jaraxxus's sensor thing, which he's doing.
Yeah.
But you could walk up to the wall yourself if you wished.
Hmm.
And the mist just sort of like knows when to not. It's just like supernaturally stopping.
Yes, it's like covering or drifting right next to the walls all the way up to the ceiling and not covering the cavern.
Are there any like stones or like pebbles on the ground?
Sure. Oh yeah, plenty of those.
Okay, can I pick one up and throw it at the wall?
Mm-hmm. It just bounces off the wall.
Okay. And is there an echo or anything?
There, just because you're in a larger room, yes, but nothing that's like, you know.
Jaraxxus looking through his sensors like, what was that? I just saw something.
Something just bounced.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen this in the sim VODs all the time. The moment we walk straight down, something's going to come out of the mist and grab us. Not it.
Well, I'm not going down there by myself,
How
if
about-
at all.
Have you introduced our new friends to Uncle Bones? Maybe.
Oh, that is true. But okay, above table. I can't see what he sees though, right?
No.
Yeah, that would be the only issue. But I guess he could
walk him down
be a
the lane.
distractor, yeah, if something tries to attack. Now, let me see how far he can go, because I can't remember.
How far I'll go.
I don't want to cast it, I just want to read what it is. Okay, so he can go up to 60 feet. And
Okay.
that's the length of this cavern, right?
Yeah, 60
What she
foot
said?
wide, really.
And we have no idea how long it is.
It's probably about 90 feet long. Sort of like a, I don't know how you describe it, like a lemon, right? Just sort of out and then back in, I would say.
Okay, so I mean I can send him and see what happens. Okay. So I'm casting Unseen Servant and I'm sending Uncle Bones down this cavern. See what happens.
Okay. And you're just sending him to what command are you giving him? Just go look, or go see, or
Yes.
Go...
Yeah. Basically, the idea is there anything down there that we need to be concerned about? Is it clear? That sort of thing.
Okay. Okay. He goes to the end. He goes to the walls. You sent him. Sorry, you sent him down to the other end of the cavern or to the walls.
What are we sending him to the cavern or to the walls?
Up to you. I mean, if we walk, we're gonna try to walk straight to probably.
Right.
Not into
Sataria
this,
Raven?
I'm confused why we're not just continuing on to the ship. But
I don't know.
if-
Fear.
Oh, because something or somebody might be down there who might want to murder us. And we just need to be alerted.
Oh, okay, well. I reckon that's good enough.
Sataria walls or down the cavern?
Let's do down the cavern.
Okay, so Null sends Uncle Bones down the cavern.
Okay. Nothing. Just straight down. Gets to the other end, where it narrows again, but nothing else otherwise.
Well, it seems to be clear until it narrows again.
Should be safe then.
Well, it should be.
I will go first.
Okay, so Jaraxxus heads across the cavern. Can I assume the rest of you are following behind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you get to the other end of the cavern, Jaraxxus, you are nearing the exit when suddenly you see 3 glowing lights that appear almost out of nowhere. They are probably maybe 2 or 3 feet in diameter, and they kind of they sort of grow, shrink, grow again. They all float around in front of you. And then they are sort of like floating up, floating back. And then the middle one says, "Strange." And the other one behind it, "Strange." And the third one, "Strange." "These creatures are traveling through our realm. Where might they be going? Should we speak to them, or something more? And we'll find out what happens in our next session. As we have 3, there are 3 lights. And we will see what happens with those. I'm super excited that you're on the path of the artificers. Gonna explore a big freaking ship. It's gonna be pretty cool. I am super excited. I loved, by the way, the magic shopping portion of this episode, where people were distributing stuff.
That was great.
And also love the role play from everybody. LaShawn, props to you. I think that I'll talk about this when I get to Raven, but just sort of as a general comment, I think that you've done a good job in establishing that you're not just going to default, like, okay, sure, whatever anyone says, which has been a nice contrast with you and Zataria, who is also figuring things out in her own way about what she wants to do and under what circumstances. And it means that both of you have figured out how to start integrating one way or the other, and it's not necessarily going to be smooth, but it's going to be something that there may be a trust beyond sort of what it's a trust that will take time, but there's a foundation there, which I think is really cool. And I really loved the image of this group of people that you've basically just been like, so the thing you thought was kind of the center of your faith, so about that. And their reaction, of course, was not to be like, this is awesome, everyone high five, but it also was not to stone you out of the populace, right? Like, the idea instead was for them to think about what it was that you had said. And so they are grateful, but it's the gratitude of, thanks for telling us the truth, and we're going to have to figure this out over the course of however long. So I liked personally the image of watching you with Jaraxxus' statue, with all of them sort of thanking you as you head off into this passage towards circumstances unknown. It's a very cool setup, I think, for what we're going to have down the line. I will start with Zach, bottom right. Great work from Jaraxxus today. Excellent role play as per usual. I think it is interesting to me that you played off this idea that Jaraxxus is sort of imagining, sort of making a difference. The idea of, I'm beginning to like being on this planet, and I don't actually like that. Thanks, I hate it, because I want to be going and doing my content creation business and all that. And yet at the same time, I could kind of get used to this in its own way. I thought that was very interesting. And also, as someone who can connect with Raven, because both of you come from a kind of similar understanding of the Silrain arc, of the galaxy that you come from, and so on. And you're both strangers in a strange land here. Even Zataria, who's not used to this particular realm, but is certainly used to this planet. And obviously Nulls is from here. So that's very interesting to me that you sort of connected in some ways with Raven, and as Raven said, gave her something to think about. So there's a lot there going on, and I'm interested to see Jaraxxus' arc over the course of time. How did you feel about today, Zach? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Today was great. Lots of very cool role play. We didn't get into a fight. We could have, I guess, if we really wanted to. But no, it was lots of great RP. It's always cool to get rewards and gifts. That's always great. And yeah, I think our inner party dynamic is starting to develop out too, which is really cool to see. So yeah, I'm excited to take this journey and encounter some strange things and strange lights and strange ships and do a bit of dungeon crawling. Should be fun. But I'm curious too how our characters will change and shift over time, and I've started to feel that with Jaraxxus, and then with everyone's characters already kind of where they are and then where they might end up. So I'm excited for it. People will find me here for this, of course, and also for the Our Vocalists, which is our monthly show on the Arva and Elrond channel where we voice act video games. We have currently the game Growing Up, which we've been doing, where you play a kid from birth to the graduation of high school. It's a very strange game to play as a voice cast, but we're making it work. It's a lot of fun. And we get so excited about the brain map in that game.
That's
They should
coming
just
up this
release the brain
Tuesday,
map.
by the way.
Yeah.
Probably the wrap-up of Growing Up before we move on to
Yep.
Citizen Sleeper 2.
Yeah, so we'll stop Growing Up on Tuesday, and then after that we have Citizen Sleeper. You'll also find us, Greg and I, on our Gen GMs vodcast, both podcast and video, where we talk about GMing and DMing in general. And then on my channel, twitch.tv/ZachPlay, where I highlight the roleplay communities, specifically in World of Warcraft and Minecraft. There are a lot of Twitch streamers that do like GTA roleplay and Red Dead Redemption roleplay, and there's a lot of WoW streamers that cover all the stuff in WoW, but none of them focus on the WoW RP community, which is really, really big. And essentially, at any given time, hundreds and hundreds of people all playing their D&D characters, but with no GM around and just wandering around the city doing events. It's so fun and interesting in a little tiny niche community, and I love it. And then you'll also find me in a much more notorious place that I can't talk about, probably next month. But yeah, big things are happening. I'm stuck in NDA land right now, so anyway, that's me. Happy to be here. Happy
Good
to
stuff.
continue our story.
Thanks, Zach. And don't forget, you'll have a chance to see Zach in the finale of Hearthglow, which will be coming
There's
up
always something.
in April, and that'll
Yeah.
be live at Sacred Heart University. I'm very excited
That's
for
right.
that. So if you were in
I'm
the Southern
also very
Connecticut area, April,
Yes.
mark your calendars, and I'll have specific dates on that soon. Thanks, Zach.
Yep.
LaShawn, excellent work, as I said. Really have enjoyed watching Raven interact with people around her, and also really liked, obviously the Jiraxis stuff was fun, but I was really also liked the connection with you and with Knowles. In that, the way that you put it was really interesting, I think, in that it was like, yeah, I don't like her, partially because she said something that's like connected to the truth, and I'm like, F you, okay? Like, don't do that. Like, what do you mean? And so I thought that was cool, because it seems to match a kind of feeling about Raven, which is that Raven's like, I'm not doing this because you told me to. I'm doing this because of my own level of interest, one way or the other, and like, so whatever, and Null's sort of kind of worming her way in with some of these comments or things that will have their own impact on Raven, because Raven didn't even trust the people around her where she was, right? It wasn't like, oh, I could trust my own people here, but now I can't this. Raven, from the way you've described it, kind of has grown up not trusting anybody. So I'm very curious to see how that all gets played out as you have to learn whether to trust or not. And also separately, thank you for taking the efficient quiver, just because I think it's super cool. I'm super excited to see what that does. Anyway, how'd you feel about today? Where will the fine folks see you next?
Well, it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, the butting heads with Niles was so much fun, because like it is so totally out of character for me. So it's kind of like, yeah, Lobby is like, no, be friends with me. Be friends with me. And so like, yeah, it's like no. I think if anything, it's something that, I'm realizing that, yeah, trust is very hard to come by from someone who doesn't have trust at all. So
Yep.
it must, for them, trust needs to be earned. And I think that's something that, Raven will be leaning more into and learning about over the next few sessions. So conflict. So I had fun with that. And yes, I don't know why I took the quiver, but yeah, it will probably be something that Raven will get to have fun with too. Other than that, people can find me on they can find me on Blue Sky, and they can find me on Facebook. And yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you, LaShawn. Looking forward to next month already with everybody. Moving right up to Toya. Toya, as always, bringing the role play and excellent work with that this time. Again, I like how Knowles is exactly how she is, and like that's something which clearly works well. Like very different character, obviously in a lot of ways from Raven, which will give Raven her own ground, but at the same time will be like, I did see you do something, so my eyes are upon you, right? Like at the same time, but it's always observational. It feels to me for Knowles. So Knowles is just like, I'm just saying I saw it, So I'm just letting you know that I did see it. And in the same way that Knowles worked this through with a certain direwolf, who now has a crystal flower. In the same way, Knowles has got a little bit of that to do with Raven, and then also we'll be doing in a different way probably with Sataria, I imagine, at some point. But I really enjoyed seeing that interaction with Raven, especially juxtaposed with the thing with Jaraxxus too, right before that. So that's interesting to me, and I'm sure there'll be more where that came from. How did you feel about today? Where would lovely folks find you next?
The lovely folks will find me at GDC next month, the Game Developers Conference.
Very nice.
I lurk on social media. I'm not very active, so even telling you what my accounts are wouldn't be really worth it. But if you'd like to hire me for like some editing or consulting of your prose works or your video game stuff, you can go to my website at schnoodlemedia.com and contact me. By the way, I was wondering if that crystal flower has any nice little effects or abilities that go along with it. I'm sure we'll never know, but
we'll see.
Yeah, Raven and Knowles, that's interesting to me because I don't think Knowles even judges her or has any certain opinions about her yet because, as she said, I don't know you, right? So it's like, I'm not going to tell you what to do or what you shouldn't be doing because I don't know you. That's your own decision. So it'll be interesting to see how that relationship grows as, Knowles is starting with like neutral trust. I won't even say like positive or negative. It's just neutral. For Raven, it's negative because it's negative with everyone. But we'll see where that goes on the meter. I am also, I loved also the conversation with Jaraxxus. That was fantastic. I am super curious how badly the council could have gone, that discussion could have gone. But I found it interesting, the fact that we had brought up like the draining of the life force really connected with Talafel.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, that basically there was the one voice that was trying not to hear any of it, and she quickly shut him down. I always wonder how things could have gone, if we made different choices or, we said different things. So that was all very fascinating to me.
Quick note on that. It could have gone. Quick note. It could have gone very differently,
Yeah.
Depending on how things went, because your ability to sort of set it up that you all planned ahead of time, and then letting the council sort of, make its own decisions. Clearly, as they told you, some of them had a sense there was something way off already, which is why that their main, ascendant is lying in a coma because of some psychotic break. Doesn't take, these are people who are kind of like, well, so but I think you all addressed it pretty well, and you managed that conversation pretty well, Knowles, because it could have gone, or Toya, as Knowles, Toya, because it could have gone very differently for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, what would that world have been like if they rejected all of that information? Like that would set them up for later attack by the Caridin. So that was really interesting. So yes, I am fascinated to see where this goes, especially with a big old spaceship. Jaraxxus and Raven will be on more familiar turf soon, and Sataria and Knowles are going to be like, what is this? So that'll be fun.
Yes, indeed, and I am excited for that as we go through. A lot of cool stuff here. Thank you, Toya. Good work today. And yes, everyone should hire Toya for all your editing and game design needs. Thanks, Toya. Last but certainly not least, Little wanted to mention that Rhiannon not only some good decision making mechanically and otherwise and advice for the party, but the other thing I really liked was the low-key moment of Sataria trying to interact with the council, which was, as you said, it was not exactly the most, I love the idea of like, yeah, I thought these were yokels, but it was fine. And like everyone just being like, what? But I really appreciated that because again, it sets up Sataria. It's very important that it not just be seen as like, and then Sataria is this random person who's a student, also a healer, but like has her own thought process about the way this is all going to go down. And I'm very interested to see, excuse me, I'm very interested to see as this continues, what, if anything, Sataria's reaction is going to be to finding out that Renvarith has been cut off. That's not me telling you that you need to do that. I just think that it's you did mention that you reacted to it in some way, even if people would notice it, and I'm going to be curious to see if anything is going to have sort of if that's going to weigh on Sataria at all, or if it will increase the drive one way or the other. I don't know, but it was interesting to me to see the council interaction as also evidence of what Sataria is going through as she develops as a character. And also now you have, healing words, so there's that. How'd you feel about today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
A ton of fun. I jumped on that opportunity because Sataria in my head has always been kind of selfish and kind of unfiltered. And so that was showing both in that, like, she wasn't really that sort of interested until like, oh wait, it pertains to me also. And then also like, yeah, I'll just say these people are yokels. So people can find me. I am on the Dungeon Scrawlers Discord. That's another channel. The one shot or the multi-shot I was in just finished up, but I am in the Isekai Realms stream on Mondays from the Dungeon Scrawlers. I am on Blue Sky at Rhiannon Held, and rhiannonheld.com. It's got my books. I got Urban Fantasy under Rhiannon Held, Space Opera under RZ Held, and then also on my website I have the link to my novelettes from last year, free to read, excellently edited. If you should want to have a look at those now that's nomination season. And yeah, check out my books.
Good stuff, Rhiannon. And again, thanks to everybody here for coming together so beautifully. And man, I am ready to eat up the exploration of a big spaceship with a spoon. Sign me up. I am very happy for this. So, chat, can we get some love for the amazing crew of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks? Thank you, as always, to the amazing group of Rhiannon Held, Toya Kristen Finley, LaShawn M. Wanek, and Zach Clay. Crew, great work. I will see you folks next month for more.
Bye
for now.
Good night.
All right. And that, folks, is going to do it for us for this evening. I really enjoyed it. I'm also happy that this came through pretty well in the end. Again, this is Artbox 2.0, but it's currently using something which is less powerful than what Artbox 2.0 would normally have, because of a loaner that I had to get. My old computer was not functional. I'm going to have a new one that the university is going to issue to me in a few months. But in the meantime, I am using this. By the time we get to August and summer and travel elsewhere, though, I will have a more involved remote setup or a more powerful one. In the meantime, though, this held together pretty well. I think it did what it needed to. So I am glad about that. And I'm glad that this worked out so that I was able to bring the stream to all of you. And again, very grateful to my amazing players. I am going to be back on Tuesday, and I forgot to mention that before, that Tuesday is actually going to feature, first of all, we're going to be playing the Fighting Fantasy Gamebook illustration stream. We're going to finish Skylord with Tari Tunes illustrating. That'll be Tuesday around noon Eastern or so. Then at 4 p.m. Eastern, I will be over on GOG Con with Pen and Pixels playing more Airborne Kingdom. Really enjoyed that, actually, and I'm looking forward to more of that. It was super chill and relaxed. It was cool. And then this Tuesday night, I forgot that I've got the Arvocalis coming up with the aforementioned Growing Up, as we will be continuing more of that. And then Thursday, we will be wrapping up Caves of Kood. We will be wrapping up Neva. And we will be getting ready for the next game in our series, which is going to be Cryptmaster. We'll be doing that game for a few sessions. I think it's like 5 or 6 sessions or so. And then moving on to the Dragonlance Gold Box games, which I'm excited to do. So that's what we've got planned as things come up. Also, while I'm on the subject, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, the week from this Tuesday, we will be playing, I think this is right, the Patreon Fueled Chat Chosen Game of the Month. So you should get your votes in now at that link. If I look right now, it's Expeditions Rome, Origami, and Tropico, either 4 or 5. And as I look right now, we are looking at, what is this? What am I doing? Okay, there we go. Right now, Expeditions Rome is in the lead. 3 votes to Origami's 2 votes to 0 votes for Tropico. So get your votes in now because we're going to be closing that up as of Tuesday's stream. So yeah, definitely make sure to get your votes in for that. But otherwise, that is going to do it for me today. I do want to thank Alligator Alley Entertainment for sponsoring this, and very excited about Greyshade, the TTRPG coming out from Alligator Alley soon. So it's going to be good stuff. If you like what you saw and heard today, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube. Thanks for those of you who are watching on YouTube today. Again, please make sure to subscribe there. We are right up against that new record. We have a new record number of subscribers right now. Every new subscriber is a new record. It's free for you to do that, but it really helps us out. So help us get to 1,100 followers or subscribers. We're almost there, so please get us that extra stage. Discord is !ArvCourt. Please join us over there to hang out with us in between streams. Twitter, !ArvTweets, but especially Blue Sky, !ArvSky, charging to 800 followers. I think when we hit 800, I'm going to finally take the plunge, and I will then shut down my Twitter account, and it'll be all about the Blue Sky at that point. So please join me over on Blue Sky, !ArvSky, where the skies are blue. Website, arvanelleron.com. Remember to check out Hearthglow. As I mentioned, one more recorded session will be coming either this month or next month, but then after that, we will have our finale of Hearthglow Live at Sacred Heart University in April, and I'll have an official date on that in a couple of weeks. It's going to be really awesome. You can check that out on the website, arvanelleron.com, and again, don't forget to check out Zach's and my Gen GM's show, which he talked about today during his outro, which you can find there as well. On the financial front, !Arv Shop, that's the merchandise area. You can get a lot of stuff related to campaigns we've run on this channel. There is more to come. !Arv Treon is that's that Patreon right there. Gets you cool stuff and gets us cool stuff as well. Please do support us there. It does make a big difference, as does subbing to the channel. Thanks for those of you who subbed and resubbed to the channel today. Please continue to spread the word and do that because that really helps us out. And you get those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. More emotes coming from Tari Tunes, our amazing emote maker and artist, resident artist, you could say. So we've got more of that on the way. Very excited about that, and very excited as well on the publishing front about !Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts, !Library, which is my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and source book from the aforementioned Alligator Alley Entertainment, which will also be doing the Greyshade TTRPG. !Greyshade is Greyshade Renegade Heretic, the Grey Assassin trilogy from Athos Arts. That's available at that link right now. You can also get the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks, and you can pre-order that tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade I mentioned, being designed by Brandon O'Brien. Alligator Alley will be publishing that in the summer of this year, so it's in edits, and now we're on to that final stage. So super excited about the release of that game. It's going to be awesome. And as always, !BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. !Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And !Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message we'll do so for others in that situation in the future. I want to thank all of the amazing people who made this a great stream today. I have this done a little bit differently than normal, but I believe I want to thank my wonderful mods, Triffity Mats, Lego Freak, Dragon Spear, Drew the Damager, the best in the business. Thank you all. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and subscribers. Thank you again. I believe to Triffid. Thank you to Dragon Spear. Thank you to Drew. And thank you as well to Nonstop. And thank you to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to Artemisia. Thank you to Betrader, to Black Fury, to Jagtris, to Saturnius. I know Imaginary Exponent was in here earlier today as well. Thank you to everyone who watched, who spread the word, and all that kind of good stuff. I will see you folks on Tuesday, right around noon Eastern, for the conclusion of that Fighting Fantasy game book, Skylord, with Tari Toons illustrating. Then 4 p.m. GOG Comms Twitch channel for Airborne Kingdom, and then that night 9 p.m. Eastern on my channel, The Arvocalypse, finishing with Growing Up. Otherwise, more Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks to come next week, come next month. Thanks everybody, much love. If you're in Baltimore, by the way, stop by my panel tomorrow at Farpoint, the Farpoint Convention in Baltimore, Maryland. And otherwise, I'll see you folks back here on Tuesday. Until then, everyone, please be good to each other. Thanks so much to my wonderful players as well for a great time tonight, and I'll see you folks soon. Until then, everyone, please be good to each other, and bye for now.